A lot of points to deal with this morning as we head through 8:30 here. A couple of could be key points coming through here. We'll get to that in a second. But overall, the market downside once again coming off what happened yesterday. Nice bounce back yesterday throughout the session, not only for tech stocks but semiconductors specifically. We end the day at the highs as we get some back and forth tariff headlines. We're back to the downside this morning for the NASDAQ to start things off once again this morning. A lot of things moving around on the individual side that we'll touch on this morning. We had an ECB rate cut come through. We get non-farm payrolls, remember, coming up on Friday. That's going to be the big economic release of this week. I mean, so many different directions to go here this morning. Tesla bouncing around here a little bit. A positive note I was reading this morning for Tesla, but a lot of questions remain here coming off what happened at the end of the day yesterday.
Well, Brendo, I mean, with the tariffs in focus on the auto industry, everything was in flux. Today, we get more information that Tesla's looking at opening up yet another factory in Texas, really looking to take advantage there. They're going to open up a new factory near Houston. It's going to be for their mega pack, so not going to make cars. It's going to make energy storage. The reason that they opened it up there, they got a tax abatement deal from the Texas governor there, so not a bad look. Lots to talk about today. A lot of reports. Marvell reporting, Brendo, Macy's reporting, Palantir with another deal, Amazon expanding into the AI agent space, not just CRM doing it anymore, and then Apple apparently coming out with a foldable phone, says Ming-Chi Kuo.
We'll see. I thought those were kind of over at this point, but I mean, the Pixel foldable one's still doing really well. I mean, it's $1,500, but all of those are really, really high end priced. I was reading this morning the Model Y, the #1 selling model of any car in the world above the Toyota Corolla in 2024.
And that's been a couple of years now, Brendo, that he's been selling those. #1 in the world. What can you blame?
It's impressive. It's impressive. Let's get a recap here real quick. Refresh this. 221 on the initial jobless claims versus 250 expected there. 1.897 continuing claims versus 1.87 million. Non-farm productivity quarter over quarter, 1.5%, a little bit of an uptick. 1.2 was expected there. We got challenger job cuts way back at 7:30 this morning, 172,000 versus just 56 that were forecast. Remember, non-farm payrolls, the big one coming up on Friday morning, which is tomorrow at this point. So make sure you're with us for that. We'll bring it to you. Good morning, guys.
Yeah, good morning. I think we said yesterday, if the move doesn't hold, we have a scapegoat. We'll just blame everything on Marvell and call it a day. What a tale of this is the market environment that we're in. We were doing a webinar this morning, and that's one of the things we both left the discussion with. This ain't last year, and it's not the year before. So even when things look strong on a bounce, this is what we get here. You get more concerns over a trade war. You get and you can read the watch list when we'll talk about Marvell. I mean, you can always find something to report that if the stock goes down, this is the reason the stock went down. But that's what you had to do with Marvell, and they're down a bajillion. Nvidia's down 3%. Everything is down.
That's an exact number, by the way. The bajillion isn't
3% actually. I'm being a little bit dramatic about it, but it's like we had such a good rally yesterday.
So
then we consolidated. We closed near the highs. Like, you had all that textbook. It looked pretty good yesterday, the bounce that we had. And all of a sudden, the only thing that looks good is Randy's haircut.
Does it?
I'm getting one. I need a haircut.
Yeah, Randy, always so handsome there, Randy. What the hell is going on over here? Okay, so... we also get, unfortunately, some quantum news today off earnings yesterday. Rigetti down another 10%. I mean, I say another, but, today it's down 10%. Been pretty beat up again. I last bought this name at $6. I think we're getting into that level. We have Big Bear AI reporting tonight. So I'm a little... Oops, that's a New York name. I'm a little interested in Big Bear just because it's a name that I've been buying at these levels. So we'll wait to see if it has a bad situation tonight as well, maybe, like Rigetti. But I don't know, man. Yesterday's missed, and I don't know if I missed the opportunity here yesterday, but I was watching Trump there, obviously, when he was talking to Congress, and we mentioned the CHIPS Act, and we knew that was going to be bad for it. Intel can barely survive now, and it's relying on that $7 billion. They've only got like $1.1 billion of that money or something like that so far. So yesterday, we were not aggressive enough early at all, for me, on Intel at all. And it just like gave us exactly what we wanted. And yesterday was a good day in the market, right? Like a good day in the market. And Intel did this. Obviously, at the end of the day, we rallied right back to 21 bucks, which was huge, making the day look like it wasn't that bad. But at the end of the day, the story doesn't change here for Intel. So for me, I have Intel definitely on watch here, maybe even on VWAP, maybe even on this 200 period. We're going to look at 21 bucks for Intel, but that's like, again, just like yesterday when we wrote down 22, we never got there. Probably have to get a little more aggressive off the open on some of these plays. So we'll just continue to stay with it. The number one name idea on here is going to be the futures today. That jobless claims number that just came through obviously rallied this market a little bit. I'll give it to you again. Jobless claims, 221 versus 234. So strong job market, right? Less jobless claims out there, rallying the market a little bit. The Fugays, in my opinion. The market, we've seen it digest these numbers. So I'm still sitting up here to go short. I wrote down the TQs for 70. So if we jump anywhere back up into here, I'm going to be short before the market even opens. So that might be interesting, but we're going to wait to see what happens here. I'm net short today for sure until something changes. And look, we trust our spidey senses. It's something that we talk about here. If something does change, we start getting aggressively above VWAP. Like even here on the futures, we're still well away from it. So if we can get up here, change momentum, get a story or two, then I can definitely get on board with the long. I mean, there's a couple names that I like long, like buying Palantir on dips. And then obviously yesterday was one of my best days in the last couple months, and we had 4 or 5 longs. But we had to wait for them. We didn't take them early. We were able to wait and pick up something near the bottom, right? Like this Nvidia at 115 yesterday, we hit it like 3 times, and it was just awesome, especially when you close at the highs. So we'll see if 115 is now resistance on the upside. I don't think it will be, but again, Nvidia, another name we can pick on if the market rallies. I just right now not getting those rally feels here. And there's probably some sectors that are up. I mean,
I've been looking.
What finance looks like
how
right
much
now.
I like.
Financials look like.
Much of anything.
You know what's been actually good is crypto.
Bitcoin is holding 90. That's what I was going to say.
What's up with that? That's nice.
When I was making my list of like bearish things.
You want to go short IBIT then?
I actually didn't. I didn't see any doom and gloom over there on IBIT, which is kind of crazy. I would have thought you'd have a little bit more weakness. Did you do the right side as well?
I did the bottom. I don't know if that's the right side or not.
Yeah, I did the bottom as well.
I mean, I saw someone in the chat say that's the way that monkeys do it, and then someone else said that monkeys also take their you know what and throw it at each other. So we don't have to necessarily do things the way they do them. But okay, so anyways, Alibaba, I just heard someone say in the chat, okay, so this is where the strength is, I guess.
Baba, JD.
I didn't even get through our watch list all the way through, so there's probably something about China, but I had missed this. So we had said this yesterday. I was like, well, Alibaba will just take out the highs tomorrow. It looks like we're opening at these highs. So here's the daily chart for Alibaba. That take is 146. I'm not sure. That was, I guess, this morning in the pre-market. But yeah, we're looking to make, right there. So that's also Fugays. So right now we're at the highs. I'd say a 145 break on Alibaba. I actually might add this to the list. We need to take something long in case this market rallies. Not early, but Alibaba definitely on strength. Pullbacks into the 200 has been key for us. So we'll have to wait for Alibaba, but a good look there. Joe's cool uncle says, okay, there's news on DeepSeek and all that stuff. So yeah. Look, man, AI is all
Baba
the rage.
AI news for Baba.
AI is all the rage. Whether or not it's Chinese names or Italian names. Shout out to our friends at Finico Bank, if anybody's watching from there. Open it from the side so you can put any uneaten amount back in the peel. Wow, there's so many different ideas here for bananas.
Open it from the sides. Oh, I think it... Yeah, I don't know. I'm not. You get too complicated with that. Try to keep it simple. You know what I mean? Like go short, strong stocks, go long, weeks. Sorry, go short, weak stocks, go long, strong stocks. Wait for things to get to key levels, and eat your banana however you feel comfortable doing it. There's more than one way. So if it works for you, like if you're a swing trader, great. You want to trade off Fibonacci's, great. You want to trade earnings names? You got Rigetti and Zscaler and Marvell as well. You want to eat a little dragon fruit instead of a banana? Then you can go ahead and do that as well. Although
if you have dragon fruit.
I didn't get any dragon fruit in my thing.
So then you can't do it.
So I can't do that. Apparently, I'm just going to eat a cantaloupe. Let's go back to the desk. No dragon fruit.
Desk. Now. Fabian.
Hi, there we go. Wanted to show this. Context, definitely key, very negative talk, negative headlines everywhere you look, it seems. This is a year-over-year change chart. Shout out to Bespoke on Twitter. Year-over-year change for the Mag 7. Microsoft, as of the end of the day yesterday, the first one to go negative. Year-over-year.
Wow.
Yeah, Microsoft now down 0.25%. Everything else still up massively, including 58% for Tesla.
When you look at Microsoft's chart, Brendo, on the daily, it literally ranged all of 2024. It had the big move in 23 when we had that AI bump with its association with OpenAI. But I really don't feel, we had, like, I mean, there's a $40, $50 range that we're talking about here, 450, 460 to the high side, and then about 400 to the low side there. But yeah, I mean, interesting look. What that chart there really caught my attention was Tesla. So Tesla's been shellacked lately, yet year over year, we're still decent up on the day.
And it's the narrative, right? Everyone is so negative about not only individual names like Tesla, but also about the overall market. So, I mean, I was saying this yesterday with Michael Noss as well. It's always good to just calm down, take a breath, zoom out, and you know, get a bigger picture. Speaking of that, 487, if you're watching the cues, 487-ish will be 10%. Off the highs. So we're not even at 10% at this point, which is typically where you start to see a little bit of action coming back into play. So yes, we took out that low, continuing to the downside here, guys. But I mean, going back to that chart of just the Mag 7, I mean, really important to understand big picture, I think.
Yeah, I mean, perspective is a rather large deal and a very big part of, you know, what you do when you're looking at the longer time frames. Like, you don't, in the day trade, you don't want to get too wrapped up in things like that. But you know, like, I come to something like Meta, and it's easy for everyone to be like, "Oh my goodness, we're down $100 from the high on Meta." Like, that's already made a correction territory move. As a matter of fact, it went further than that. But when you zoom it on out, like, just look at every other time there's been a move of 10 to 15% down on Meta, right? Now, what would you call that kind of a move or that kind of a move? Okay, there's not even that many of them. I was kind of hoping there'd be more than just two on that chart. But they've been buying opportunities. Now, maybe this is a trend break, but then I would suggest usually then go look at a weekly chart and go look at a monthly chart. And then ask yourself, you know, what's your time horizon? You're in a swing trade and it's coming on some levels and you want to make sure that you're not getting rinsed, fair enough. But if your time horizon is 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, you know, or if you're really young, and even more than that, you can't get too scared by this, and you should be looking for places to get in. I just use Meta as an example because we were just talking about it when we were in another discussion. But yeah, if you like a company, these are buying opportunities, I think, for a lot of them. And it's very different looking at, when I talk about Meta, than say, somebody that's not making oodles of money, like a Rivian, which I just got out of. You know, like that kind of, it's different. That's a very different story. Like, I don't want to be sitting on those when I think there's the buying opportunities that are coming in on some of these other names. But I think you just got to be, you know, you want some, that's why you have dry powder, in my opinion. But you do want to suss out the ones you like and you don't. I don't like Microsoft so much as I like a couple of other Mag 7 names in here, and we've talked about them, and Amazon bounced nicely off 200. Maybe it's going to go there again. And if it breaks it, I'm not that concerned long term. I would be in the short, though.
It's interesting you got out of Rivian. I don't want to tell that to Randy.
Sometimes he was here when I said I go look.
Okay, sometimes it's fine selling at lows because we don't know how low it's going to go.
So this time I finally covered some when it got to 16. And then I didn't do it when it got to 18 last time, which was stupid. And I said, if it breaks that 12 bottom, then I'll get out, make, like, in the time the market did a bunch and I made 10% on it, and then just be able to deploy the cash elsewhere because there's going to be buying opportunities. And I guarantee you this, I'll probably be able to buy Rivian again at 10 in the back half of the year.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so just looking at some other names, you mentioned Tesla's still up. I mean, it is all a matter of timing, right? I mean, it's like you can just fit whatever narrative you want. You know, like you mentioned, like talking to Michael Noss, zoom out. Well, I mean, when you're making predictions of buying things at the top, and then you do get in at 460, and now it's at 280, that's down 50%. You know, like that's a bad move. It's not 50% quite. I mean, if you get to the top, you're close. But at the end of the day, the fact that we can look back and say, oh, well, you know, back in March, it was down here, like, you know, year over year, it's a great trade. It's the unrealized gains that everybody's given up, or the unrealized losses that everybody's sitting on right now. So yeah, if you are a long-term investor, obviously the market being off 10% now is just a pullback. But at the same time, like anybody that put any new money to work, basically since the election pretty much, right, is now going to be underwater. So that's the problem. And if you bought up here, you're now down 30%. Well, you need to make that back, you know, and it could take a minute. So it's just like have time frame into perspective, and you know, like when's the next time? And I'm just looking at my list here because, you know, Intel, $55, $60, $70. There's traders long up there. There's traders long on AMD at $200. You know, and it's just like, it's just had this huge move down. And what are you supposed to do? Like, now you just got to wait and say to yourself, well, you know, people are going to come on, well, you know, if you just go back here to September of 23, then you're flat. Well, that's nice. I mean, it's losing all of this. It's losing your time. It's the opportunity cost of being into other things. And like I said there, man, like we had traders on that were calling great breakouts on XLF. Take the breakout, they said. So if you did that, right, fine, but you're down 7%. So this is why time frame matters. I still like XLF. We just made predictions, and I thought financials, obviously a lot of us like financials around here, should have a good year. But is this a buying opportunity, or do you wait for a little bit lower? So, I mean, like yesterday I bought the S&P 500. I haven't bought any equities. Probably pick up some Nvidia if it gets near that 105, 108 again, which may happen today. But at the end of the day, time frame is, probably will. Time frame is what matters. And I just think it's, you know, there's a lot of traders been hurt real bad by some predictions that have been made for the long side over the last 6 to 8 months.
I hate buying tops.
So just be careful with what you're doing and make sure you buy the right names.
Yeah.
You know, and names that you're confident in, that you can withstand certain moves on. You know, because we can call up, anybody can look at a chart and give an opinion, but it's putting your money where your mouth is and then assessing what happens X amount of days down the line. What is your target? What is your time frame? Just follow it.
And remember, trade versus, remember, that's a trade. Like,
right.
What is your target? What is your time? Long term, very different story. Very different story long term.
Yeah. Long-term investing is a win.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's, you know, it's
hard to lose.
The day trading is the losing proposition. Yeah. Over to you guys.
Chris Farley waiting patiently here from Trade Ideas to talk a little bit about his perspective as far as higher time frame and the overall market is concerned. Let's jump right into it, Chris, because there's a lot to cover here. Talking specifically from key levels, if you're going to mention anchored VWAP here, but talk a little bit about what you're seeing as far as the overall market's concerned.
You know, first off, listening to the last few minutes with Neil and Sean, I couldn't agree more with everything they were saying, especially, you know, knowing your time frame and not just, you know, knowing what the market environment is, right? You know, we've got this, you know, technically we're still in a bull market. We've got it going on since sometime in 2022, but we are not in a buy the breakout market for, like Sean said, since sometime in November, right? Every time we've cracked a new all-time high, it's by, you know, a few percentage points here or there, a few tenths of a percentage points here or there, and we get a subsequent pullback. And I was, you know, listening to the, you know, bought some S&P and things like that. I guess it's almost a couple of months ago now, with a pullback on the SPY, and I was looking at it at that 578 area. I was gonna buy some, I didn't. I'll call it, I chickened out basically. And we went on to make 2 different all-time highs afterwards. And now, hindsight's 2020. Oh, if I bought it, I would have sold it at the top, or would I? I have no idea, right? Nobody, everybody can play that hindsight game in the rearview mirror. We came back and tagged that area and then passed some of it. So, at this point, you start to look and be patient, at least for me as a swing trader. You're looking at your 401ks or something like that. You can be a little less patient if you just want to nibble as we, pull down on these areas. And a lot of people make fun of each other for this, or fund managers make fun of each other for this, traders make fun of each other. But how many people are outperforming the market over 5 years? How many people are outperforming the market over 10 years? How many people are outperforming the market over 20 years? You're not going to find very many. I've been to CMT symposiums where they pose this question and people put up their hands in the room for this. And you'll see, let's say 50% of the room with the hands up over 2 years. And you see how fast that number drops over, when they get to 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and you're seeing maybe 1 or 2 people putting up their hands that are active traders or active fund managers. There's a reason for that. It's just that simple. And so, for folks that are looking for something that's, let's call it simpler to do, simply buying something like the SPY long term, taking the dividend to reinvest it, it's never going to be a bad strategy over 20 years. And if it happens to not work over 20 years, there's a whole lot of other things going wrong in the world that stocks are the least of your problem at that point.
All right, talk us through what we're looking at here as far as individual sector ETFs are concerned on your first slide.
Yeah, so, it was tough finding something positive to talk about with the sell-off that we've got going on. But I have a position lifetime range scan, and, looking at that, if you look at the first, dozen plus stocks or ETFs on there, they're all international. I think there's really just one actual stock on there. ERJ is a Brazilian airline. And outside of that, you have a ton of Euro funds. You also see Italy making an all-time high. So, I try to stick away from news as much as I possibly can, but it's impossible in this environment. And with all the trade tariff talks going on, Canada, China, Mexico, you start to name it, where, this administration is going to come after everybody and anybody. It looks like people are putting money to work in other places right now while they're waiting to see how these things, work out. And, is Trump 2.0 going to be the same as Trump 1.0? We're laying them on this month for the tariffs. Oh, no, trade talks are going well. We'll pull them back. And, we see those market gyrations with it. So, it was, the first thing that I was really looking for is what am I going to bring here that, is not everybody else is talking about, essentially. And so that was the first slide that I had up there as far as that goes. And you can see all these on the position lifetime range. EWG is 5% over its lifetime high as of the close yesterday. FEZ almost 4%. EUFN 3.3%, so on and so forth. And, so we're just taking a look at essentially Euro funds and international stocks in general. Now, surprisingly, I was going through some China looks and the FXI, the K-Web. Those look, overall very healthy, but I didn't see a ton of Chinese stocks come through this at the top of the list here. So I was a bit surprised about that. I do think VIPS was one that's a little further down the line here. I didn't have it screenshotted, though, just as a China name to throw out there.
And as far as the overall market, the SPY, the Q's looking almost identical at this point.
Yeah, that's exactly it. So, if you draw that AVWAP now on the SPY and the Qs, that AVWAP to low is August 5th. The diamonds, actually, I believe it was August 2nd, is the lows on that, representing the Dow for you. And so we've come down, tagged it on all 3, broken it on all 3. And this becomes one of those, where do you sit as a trader? Where do you sit as a technician, right? Clearly breaking it and staying under it, bearish, holding it, and then being able to build upon it, bullish. But again, if we were to hold it, if we were to bounce off those levels, we haven't been in a buy the breakout market in a very long time. So it's one of those, if you want to remain bullish, if you can't short for some reason, different directed funds, 401ks, so on and so forth, you can't short in those for most people. It's going to be one of those, if you're trying to buy the dip, you want to sell it as soon as you are up in that money. Is it, you're up $100 or you're selling, you're up $1,000, you're selling, depending on your share size, however you're, allocating a risk management like that. But we're just simply not in a buy the breakout environment. And, I got punished for it on the second to last all-time high that we made. I thought to myself, all right, we pulled back. We almost tagged the AVWAP on the indexes here. It looks like maybe we've got this all clear finally. Trump will probably back off the tariffs, and I was wrong. And it was just, touch that hot stove and learned a lesson on that. So, until proven different, market's guilty of being a sell the rips kind of market right now.
When it comes to individual names here, give us a few ideas. I mean, Tapestry actually looking a little bit stronger than the rest.
Yeah, so again, I was struggling to find something, but I said, all right, let's go with an AVWAP theme here. And so a scan that we have is a pinch on the AVWAP from recent highs, recent lows. And I was trying to find some stuff that was tradable. You don't want to see stuff that's trading 400,000 or 500,000 shares a day. You want to see at least a few million shares a day on average here. So Tapestry, it had a positive overall earnings reaction. It gapped up on the earnings day, gave it back, and then it made it, new all-time high from there. You could go either way with this again. It's come down to the bottom and the top of that gap there. And if we see a bounce back on it and we could break above that AVWAP from that all-time high, obviously they're looking good. When we break down that 80 level, it's got a long ways to go to that AVWAP from that prior low back in October. So it's an idea for either side, and beauty's in the eye of the chart holder, I like to say. One person's going to look at this and say, what is he talking about to the upside? Another person's going to say, I get that. And on the flip side, someone will agree that to the downside, it looks the same here. EA, another one here, positive overall reaction to earnings. It's almost nestled right up against that AVWAP from that November high. It's really starting to pinch in there. So again, you could call this either way. You could look for it to get to that AVWAP level and try to play it a short off of that. If you could be patient enough to see if it can close a day or two above that, maybe you've got a little room to that 140 level on that case there with EA. So, there are some okay positive ideas out there, but you're going to want to be really, really careful. I would say this is the kind of environment when I've done any of my live streams recently that let's just say you're taking 100 shares normally. Maybe you want to dial that back, 50, 60 shares, something like that. Nibble a little bit. If you're wrong, you're not wrong for a large share. You're not wrong for your full share amount. If you're right, you can continue to build on that position afterwards, which isn't something that a lot of traders are always comfortable with. It is something that I think for me, it took time to do that. I just always wanted to go in on my full share lots. In the last, let's say, year or two, I'd say 18 months or so, I've been able to learn to do that. It's a different kind of discipline, but something to consider when we're in these environments, which are just much tougher and much less fun than just a straight-on trending bull market. Yeah,
well said. Things change very quickly sometimes. Chris Farley over at Trade Ideas. Guys, if you want more information, take advantage of that deal on screen right now. Go scan that QR code. Chris, great stuff. We'll see you again soon.
Thank you all very much. Have a great rest of the week. Take care.
Yeah, thank you very much there, Chris. And, it's we're talking about like false breaks and not a breakout market. I was just looking at JD first, and it led me to Alibaba, which, by the way, that just made a 52-week high pre-market and then has fallen back underneath it. So it literally just failed this break at the high. On one of the strongest names, I mean, you're not going to see many charts that look better than this that aren't, you can find some small cappers, I'm sure, but for a large cap name, you're not going to find many like that. But try to sustain a break. You fall back in there when it's making the move on that top in the pre-market. And this feels like the environment that we're in. We're not getting that follow through. Now, I would say you can blame this to a certain extent on the fact that JD is given the entirety of its move back. Like, you got to be kidding me. Like, JD, strong, China's strong, all that stuff. It was breaking. Just yesterday, we were talking about this shelf, and it broke it out, went right into the highs, and everyone said, give me that money. let's just take it. We're at the highs. Oh, we'll take that profit and gobble, 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 and you're right back in. So if that's the environment that we're sitting in, you got to be willing to short at resistance or short at double tops and things like that. And if you're looking for longs, wait patiently for some dips. Like an example, like today, I feel like this could be, we've joked around about how improbable, or yesterday, how improbable it would be that Palantir could get down to that double bottom and show some support. Well, I don't know, those levels could come into play. Like we're at 87 now. It's not crazy to think you could see yesterday's low, 82.5 for one dip spot and a 78.5, 79 for another, because this is the environment that we're in. So if you're observing a stock that's trending into a top, nothing wrong with taking profit out in front of it. As a trader, obviously, and I know we keep making the distinction. When you're trading, much different story. You know, you get out, take some profit. Then if you fail that top, you don't feel so bad about it. But not buying those breakouts. Like, it has to be a very clean and good-looking one. You know, the breakout needs to be as pretty as a Cybertruck, I think. Otherwise, why would you want it?
Yeah, what's up, Chef Joe? Just right here, I asked people what people were trading, and here's Chef Joe. Nice pup, man. We really like that right there. But there we go. Congratulations, Chef Joe, talking about in the chat. Took his delivery of the Cybertruck and is absolutely loving it. So there it is right there. Cash Money likes gold bars. I responded to that as well. We definitely like some GLT. There's some Rigetti. What's up, Jim? Says looks like a short Thursday. I agree with that. Cats in Space says rip Rigetti calls, obviously meaning rest in peace right there. And so we'll continue to watch out what's going on. RGTI, yeah. You know, I mean, there's still that short float attached here. We'll see what happens with Rigetti, down 11.5%, 11.25% right now. And yeah, getting into that 200 period moving average. Rigetti to me looks like a buy, but I think you got to wait. That little bottom is $6. Do we get there today? I don't think so. But yeah, downside push there. Let me just double check what the short float on RGTI is. And we're going to go through our watch list in just a second. There it is. Okay, symbol Rigetti. Yes, enter. Okay, well, I'll get this figured out. It's not working right this second, but short float on Rigetti around that 20%.
25.
25%. Okay, so thanks, Neil. There it is, Rigetti. We'll just double check it right here. Just finally load it up. We got to go into overview. I just want to see what they have. 23% for Rigetti. So downside move right there was up yesterday. So like yesterday up 4%. Today down 11. Not horrible. We could get a bounce back there on 20% short float for RGTI. Sticky note is out. Let's go back over to the desk. We're running on time, but maybe a little bit late, past 9 o'clock.
All right, guys, 58.50. That's where we closed out yesterday on the ES March contract. Sadly, we are well below that, 75 points below that right now, 57.77, with the overnight low being that 57.69. So here's the deal. Yesterday, we defended 57.50. So we're going to look at that area again as support, and then we're going to look to the overnight high, 58.50 as resistance. That's if we can even get above 5,800, guys.
If you haven't done so yet, make sure you grab the absolutely free watch list. Jump down to the description of this video. Top link in the description will get you to the sign-up page. You just need an email address, and then you get that sent right to your inbox every single morning. Has everything you need to know on it for free. 3.5% right now to the downside for Nvidia. Yeah, tech in general. I mean, if you zoom out a little bit on Nvidia, the downtrend well intact here. Starting to roll over once again. That's a 15-minute chart, so you get an idea of the past couple of weeks here. But I mean, you can look at any of these. I mean, you had an interesting note on Apple. We have this AI day, whatever you want to call it, coming up on Friday at the White House. Yeah, to keep in mind as well.
Very interesting day, Brendo. We're going to talk about crypto as well. So all the crypto heads out there, wait for Friday. Let's talk about Apple right now. They are launching, or apparently Ming-Chi Kuo says that they're working on a foldable iPhone, and they have been for several years apparently, with the potential launch date in 2026. Ming-Chi Kuo goes on to say he expects the final specs to be confirmed in Q2 of 2025, with the project development to start in Q3 of this year, with mass production to start in Q6 of 2026. So well down the road, but volume production may not ramp up until 27. He's expecting about 3 to 5 million of these bad boys to ship in 26, with about maybe 20 million in 27. Now, some of the features we're talking about over here, it's going to look a lot similar to some of the already available foldable iPhone or phones. It's going to have a 7.8-inch screen with a crease-free inner display, so you don't have to, be distracted by that. They're apparently going to reintroduce Touch ID because Face ID may not be available with all the space limitations there. So we'll have to wait and see whether this even moves the needle, Brendo.
I don't think they've perfected that crease-free thing yet. I mean, I haven't seen one that isn't perfect at this point, but maybe Apple can do it. Here's Tesla, meanwhile, 2.8%. Interesting note, as we were talking about earlier, the Model Y, #1 selling individual model of any vehicle in 2024. So another notch for Elon, but we're kind of going sideways here now, guys, for Tesla.
Yeah, I mean, a lot to look at in tech today. Look, Apple was just going back to Apple for a second, that was a very strange one. It caught all of that weakness early when the rally was happening in the market, and it could not seem to get out of its own way. And now all of a sudden today, whether it is about the foldable, I don't know if that's going to be a big enough deal on a day like today if the market goes down. But you're down 1.5 in the Nasdaq, you're down 1.2 on the ES, and Apple's only down 0.5%. It's suddenly back to relative strength. But I lean back into what happened the last time we saw this, and essentially it tried to go higher. It was relatively strong back on a couple of days ago, and it couldn't seem to do more than go up a couple bucks. It went in 36.37 into this 39.40 zone, and then faded it. So if we do get any kind of an upward rally, like 237 looks like it could be a bit of a wall. But on a day where Apple's flat, I almost said Intel there talking about Nvidia. Intel's been sold the last couple of days. I think it is again today at the even dollar. But Nvidia down 3 points. Well, the buy zone was right in here, just underneath 115. So support to resistance on Nvidia, and then resistance to resistance if it breaks that. That'll be 115 on the south side. Well, we're south of it right now. Back into prior high. It works out to be the pre-market low from 7 a.m. And if we even break that, then Nvidia 119 up here. When you start talking about trade wars, and there's already been that story about Nvidia and Singapore and looking into some of the chips getting to China that shouldn't be. There's just a lot of negative sentiment, and it is in a downward trend locally. So the first look will be short at the levels prescribed on Nvidia. Apple, I'll probably stay away from, because the last time it showed relative strength, it basically failed to break out and gave you like really small moves, and then eventually just followed everything else anyways.
All right, we wrote down here as just talking about a lot of names. We're going to go, I guess this is Alibaba. Nice response there. I agree to the sticky note. So look, TQQs, man, $70 short. Let it go. We'll see if it's 70.50 as a stop. The Nasdaq's getting crushed early. Be patient and try to fade the pops. So we do have a little talk here about how we're bearish coming into today with a couple names on the sticky note. So go find it at Trader TV, Sean. Almost 100 new followers yesterday, so thank you so much for that. The 200 period moving average is right here on the Nasdaq. So again, just into yesterday afternoon, we dipped into $70 before actually ripping into the close. And then a little bit of a fade at the end of the day, but right into there, I like this $70 mark. I think it's worth shorting. 70.50 is kind of where the 50-period moving average is going to be here on the 5-minute chart. We'll see if it can get going. I just don't want to hold anything 50 cents past. So that will be a key level for me. So we're going to short $70 here on the NASDAQ. It can get going, no problem. Remember, this is the TQs, so it's triple the aggressiveness of the NASDAQ. I feel like this has been I don't feel like, I know it's been a top stock for us, as I'll be the only one that will trade the futures, but I use the TQs. So very similar, if you guys are trading, you can use the ESs or the NQs or the triple Qs. We don't have shortable issues with the TQs, and I don't have buying power issues either. But you could use SQQ to go the other way. So you could actually go long on SQQ if you were looking for, which would be down here as well, 32.50, 30, somewhere in around here. Or play it, again, off that same 200 period moving average, 33.50 long. But I just prefer to go short when I think the market's going down. So we'll stay short the TQQs. Look, man, it could battle back. I mean, looking at these imbalances early, pretty mixed. Nothing too big on there. BBAI we'll probably talk about today as there's earnings later on. But gold with a little bit of a sell there. Gold down today. That's Barrick Gold, but GLD is also down today, so that's down 1%. Walmart continues to be holding above that 92 mark, which I think is somewhat reasonable ahead of Costco today. I think Costco's tonight maybe or this week. But anyways, yeah, so a few names on there. We'll wait to see when tech names hit at 9:25. But as I said, that little bump up there on jobless claims, you know, that could be the most local high, so we can try to play off that. But we're still not really making any higher highs. That's the high, that's lower, that's lower. We tried there, and now we're still lower as well. So it's getting close, man. They're trying to change that trend, but right now we're still looking like we're topping out at some of these local highs. So let's just wait, man. Let's wait for this volume to kick in at 9:30 and see where we go. But for right now, tech tariff sell-off, as it states, I'm in full agreement with that, and we're looking short today.
TTS.
Yeah, TTS. Yeah, good one.
Some Palantir trying to hold on right now, 87.25, 87.30, down 3% as well. Had a really good end to the day yesterday. We got above $90 even after the close yesterday. There's this deal, Sharif's going to touch on that in a second, with this Spanish company, but there was some insider selling that was filed as well. Yep. Overall, I mean, this is a market move.
Yeah, you got to expect that. With near all-time highs, they're going to take some profits there, Brendo. Yeah. Let's talk about this. So EYSA, a Spanish company, striking a deal with Palantir. Basically, what they're going to do here is they've announced a 3-year partnership, and the collaboration is going to integrate Palantir's AI-powered Foundry and AIP platform into EYSA's mobility operations. The goal here is to accelerate their mobility application development and enhance data-driven decision-making. Some of the things they're going to use it for, they're going to use it for real-time road safety platform to reduce accidents. They're going to use dynamic pricing models for parking and toll systems, so different prices there. Pay-per-use mobility systems to improve efficiency. And I feel like we need this kind of stuff in Toronto, Brendo. The traffic here is already hideous. We could definitely use some AI to help move gridlock, please.
We could use just more roads, I think, or bigger roads
nice.
or something, but there's no room.
I got an idea. We should get rid of lanes and put bike lanes.
More bike lanes.
That would be a great idea to do that. We should do it on as many roads as possible. Put as many bike lanes as possible, and just take it out of all of the citizens' pockets. That's what we should do, and that will correct everything. And then I could be driving in cars and looking at empty lanes.
For anyone that doesn't know, that's Toronto in a nutshell. But yeah, I'm going to be experiencing that terrible traffic tonight when I try to drive from here to my physio. But yeah, we're talking some Palantir here. So,
I mean, it took me 20 minutes to get into work today.
Well, this morning was a joke. I actually got here too fast, but it was so early in the morning. That's a different story. But anyways, after is always going to be a different thing. Palantir, the last couple of sessions, it is dipped heavily at the open and then bounced. And the bounces have been relatively big. Not relatively. They've been big bounces off the bottom. Relatively big. No, it's been one of the bigger movers. And you had yesterday's drop, 86.5 to 82.5. That's almost 5% down, to then end up green. A couple of sessions ago, you were dropping all pre-market. It then hold higher low, double bottom, and look at the reversion back to the upside. That 78 is also a double bottom down here. So if we do that same pattern, looking for the trend reversal at 80, yesterday's low, and if that breaks, looking for it at, it's like 78.5 is this low, but anywhere around 78.5 to 79 in front of that bottom that's been put in this week. So those are the two areas I'm looking for the dip reversion that we've seen the last couple of sessions on Palantir.
All right. I mean, yesterday Palantir was a big time top stock. Again, we really ran this stock yesterday off these bottoms of $84. So it did crush early. It's been doing that, man. I mean, you know, huge moves, like huge move up, huge move down. A lot of this flush happens at the open, and then the buyers come back in the afternoon. So I'm thinking like I mean, we did get that huge move down there a couple days ago, but it seems like, in the afternoon, generally speaking, I guess not really when the market's been doing this. But from what I've been seeing is you want to just hold off the open for a stock like Palantir. I mean, we know there's buyers here. We got to $90 yesterday. Nice fade down, obviously on insider selling. I never have a problem with insider selling. It's over with. 1.7 million shares off open yesterday. That would make sense right there. So if we do flush, I would just say 84 to 84.50 as a reasonable level. So remember, everybody here trades completely different share sizes. I'll use maybe 50 to 100 times, sometimes more shares. So I have to be very, very specific on what we're doing. So we're going to wait out to see on Palantir down here near $84. So I'm just going to wait and be patient, see if we do get this push down. I'm really favoring trading the futures off the open instead of these single stock names. So we're going to have to watch out with Palantir off the open. Very dangerous name. I get down early on it, and then I just have to battle back. Like yesterday, we were lucky enough to make that battle back. I don't know. Like if the market doesn't bounce and you keep buying bottoms, eventually these stocks are really going to fall down. So be careful with what you're doing. I'm going to be very patient with Palantir today, man. I'm not touching this thing until I see something or it gets into this 84, 85 area, but stay tuned for Palantir.
One of the biggest movers this morning, Marvell, absolutely crushed $74. Wow. Coming into play right now, down better part of 18% this morning. The thing to understand, earnings actually not that bad on this. And some of the analyst notes, I was just running through a couple of them, actually not that bad on this either.
I don't really know what's going on. So I'm just going to report and you guys make up your mind here. Revenue, 1.82 billion, slightly above Wall Street's estimates of 1.8 billion. Likewise, with earnings per share, they printed 60. The street was looking for 59. So they beat on the top and bottom line there. Now let's talk about the guide. Their Q1 revenue guidance company is projecting 1.875 billion. The street was looking for 1.87, so basically in line there. The sell-off kind of indicates that investors were expecting stronger results. Some of the things that are really driving their growth here, they're expanding their custom AI silicon programs, which has entered volume production. Brendo, they're using it for things like mobile AI on cell phones and the like. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Matt Murphy, the CEO, he says strong revenue growth for the fiscal full year. He's feeling quite optimistic.
Yeah, AI specifically, sales forecast for 2026 higher as well, even if you break it down to just AI going into next year. So, time to zoom out here, guys, for Marvell.
Yep. And what's interesting is, when we're doing the aftermarket show, and you see there's always that wild price action. You saw Zscaler dip and then rip, and we've seen so many names like CrowdStrike, whatever it might be. When there's a double-digit move in the aftermarket, typically speaking, there's some kind of a dead cat bounce at some point, even if it gets back to the lows. There was none of it for Marvell. It just didn't happen. It went to 75, straight to 75. It stayed at 75 and just sat there. There was a small amount of bouncing. Ignore the dark pool wicks or just late reporting prints up at the close, and you ticked some 76 in here. Like it just sat in that range. What that affords us is to, ball don't lie, price don't lie, report is whatever it is, and that's where it stuck around without a bounce. Then that's where, if it's underneath, fade. If there was going to be some signs of a bounce, I feel like buyers would have been there, and the buyers aren't there. Until the buyers show up above 76, I think Marvell is short. And you can go out to a higher time frame, like a weekly chart, and say, okay, like a lot of other things, it looks not that bad on a weekly. It doesn't. The 200 period on the weekly is at $68. That's the next level of, I think, like obvious support, 65 to 68, I guess. And even then, you could argue it's even bigger down here around like 50. So can it go lower? Why not? That 68 level, like 65 to 68, that would be a spot that I would at least consider reversion, but 60, it showed you the range in the aftermarket. I think you just short the top of that range. And I was so completely shocked. Like not even a little relief rally when it dropped so far. Like $16 down and it didn't do any post-market bounce. I can't remember the last time I saw that.
Okay, shout out to Shane D here in the chat who hit cash, and takes down 25,000 points. Everyone, please scan the QR code in the description, well, the link in the description, QR code right on your screen there, because we want you to take some interest here in Foremost Energy. Unlock the nuclear renaissance with Foremost Clean Energy, leveraging one of the best mega trends on the planet. It's nuclear energy. We talk about this every day, partnered with Denison Mines, with properties strategically located in the Athabascan Basin, known as the Saudi Arabia of uranium. This undervalued company is poised to capitalize on the exploding nuclear market and offers unparalleled growth potential. The future is nuclear, and Foremost is your entry. FMST on the NASDAQ, FAT on the CSE, and many different nuclear names to look at, but we've had Foremost on the show, and it's a very, very interesting read, and look into what they're doing. FMST right there on the NASDAQ. Scan the QR code on your screen. Look, I mean, chip names today, I'm not going to be looking at Marvell for sure, but Intel I will be. We talked about this yesterday. Waiting for 22 was a problem and never got there. Waiting for 21 might be a problem as well. As this market and Intel not agreeing with each other, man. I mean, the market tried to go back up. Intel really didn't. Intel's now at the bottom of the pre-market right now, and the market is not. So this is definitely going to be weak. I would say this break right here, right now, we only have 10 minutes until the market opens and 5 minutes until imbalances. This is probably a good short, man. Fading into VWAP as well, $20.50. I want to have it up and I want to watch it so I can get aggressive with it. But for right now, like Intel, I'm waiting at 2080 up here for the short. But I just don't think that's going to come in. So I'm going to be watching Intel like a hawk right here early because I think there's a big time opportunity there. And then the same thing with AMD, man. AMD right now breaking above 101. I think we can wait for that 102. I think if we were going to be patient, we could wait for 102, have that come through, and move off of that. So I right now have offered 101, $100.80 right there, just thinking that that's going to be a start. If AMD is wrong and it does break above 102, then we can get out of there. So these are two positions here in the chip space. Now that we're talking about Marvell, we don't really have too much else here on chips. Those are my two plays. They're right here on the sticky note. The number one idea is here. Let's do this. The number one idea on the sticky note today is going to be the TQQs, followed by AMD and Intel. Then we have Apple on here, Alibaba, and then I do like Palantir, but a little bit lower than where we are now. So, all right, let's go back over to the desk, and I'm going to do another spin here.
Another one breaking to the downside currently, just had 20% for MongoDB. A couple other earnings names here. MDB on the list. There's Zscaler as well. The exact opposite. I mean, it's coming back in here. Was up more than 5%, now 2.8%. But hey, there's one that's positive.
Yeah, Zscaler did quite well. So let's talk about how they did. EPS handily beat Brendo, 78 pennies. Their street was actually looking for 69 pennies there. Revenue grew 23% year over year, well exceeding that $636 million estimate that the street was looking for. Deferred revenue also increased 25% year over year. Calculated billings rose 18% year over year, ahead of that 722 print the street was looking for. Also the guide, decent. They raised their full year adjusted earnings to $3.04 to $3.09 per share, up from $2.94. Full year billings $3.15 to $3.17 billion, exceeding the prior estimates of $3.12 to $3.15. So fantastic look there. Now let's talk about how they're actually making this money, Brendo. So they're benefiting from obviously increased adoption of their zero trust security and AI-driven solutions. They're competing with companies like Cloudflare, Pandub, CrowdStrike. CEO Jay Chaudhry highlighted that the company's zero trust architecture and AI-driven security innovations as key growth catalysts.
One either direction here, depending on what the overall market move does today, guys.
Yeah, I feel like Zscaler's fortunate in the fact that CrowdStrike had that guidance that they did, right? So CrowdStrike kind of gives you that negative look because they might have sandbagged, but they were a big miss on guidance. So when Zscaler was right there or just slightly underneath, they were able to be up today. I think that's pretty much the reason. I don't really have a trade for it. It's done 82,000 shares in the pre-market ultimately. And so when I'm looking at stocks I have up right now, when I look up, I see Intel, SMCI, Nvidia, Tesla. So I don't likely trade it. However, if this market, I'm bearish on the market, if we actually start trending to the upside, which goes against what I'm thinking right now, then this would be a name that I would come back to later on because A, it's relatively strong, B, it's well above prior resistance. Like there are levels it could break out above, and then you want to be able to join a trend, whether that's somehow getting back to 99 and holding it, or maybe it breaks out to 208, and then you work back into VWAP or something like that. But that's if everything else flips on its head and I'm looking for something to the long side. Just like the other day when we liked longs early and I went over to try to find some short trades because I only liked Intel short, it'd be a similar thing. There's nothing wrong with going back and looking at your watch list and saying, okay, well now we're starting to trend up. Can I join a trend in the stock that we liked when we sat down here this morning? That would be Zscaler, but it would have to show me a little something more volume and trend-wise. For now, it's a pass.
Yeah, so for me, it's really simple, man. We talk about this every day on how to trade, names that have been moving, how to trade earnings plays, and it's really simple, man. We used it yesterday. Whoopsies, no. I have to call that back open, which I will do right now. We talked about that yesterday. I forget which name was earnings yesterday, but once it broke that pre-market bottom, it was an interesting one. So here we go. We don't want, that's IBIT, the automatic chart that opened up for me was IBIT there, so that was interesting. All right, so here's MongoDB again, down 19%. Obviously, it's going to be SSR today. So the pre-market low right now is right here. So you don't really need to look at the pre-market low right now, but it seems to be that the playbook is see what happens if and when we get back up into the pre-market highs once you're beat up like this. So I would say a short in and around 217, 218. Give it up if it breaks 220. Like that seems pretty easy. $3 or $4 worth of risk seems like it's worth it. And then if you do get that move up and you don't fade the top, which is fine, then I think you want to look at whatever the bottom happens to be in the next 3 minutes, which might be in and around here. So for me, same kind of play there for MongoDB. Wait to see about the pre-market move. And then for Zscaler, again, a lot of these names moving in opposite directions, but this name is going to be underneath what its implied move was. So again, for this one, pre-market high in and around, I try not to look at like what happened off earnings, but again, not too much volume here today, 83,000 shares. So maybe 207, 208, and then the fade. So yeah, not too much energy, not too much volume here, creating much interest for me. Okay, there's Rivian. Whoopsies.
Was that a sell?
Yeah, big sell for Rivian, a mill.
Sheesh.
So that's there breaking down through. Everyone's going to get their dream on Rivian soon to be long at $10.
Hey, look at that data.
And then they can punch out at 8. All right, so there's Dada's there as well. Big Bear AI. IBIT trying to hold, right? That's a nice little bid as we have NASDAQ making moves down, and so is Bitcoin now breaking through $90. Other than that, man, Palantir's caught a bid, it looks like right here, but again, only 100,000 shares. It's already done 4 million. So it doesn't look like it here, Sharif and Brendan. Now we have too much interest right now on the imbalance locator.
The trend possibly continuing. Real quick here, we'll wrap things up with China. JD.com reporting better than expected earnings. This is a daily chart. We're up here right now in the pre-market, $45 coming into play. So strength across the board, though, for China.
Yeah, not bad here. Look, Brendo, 9.9 billion yuan. Analysts were looking for 7.6 billion for JD, so an easy beat there. Alibaba as well, coming out today, introducing their new AI reasoning model that's supposed to take on DeepSeek's R1. It has 32 billion parameters compared to DeepSeek's 671 billion. But here's the deal. Lower parameter volume improves efficiency, so that's what they're kind of going for there. Alibaba stock has absolutely done quite well this year. There's a look there. So it's better at math tasks, Brendo, coding tasks, more efficiency, and looking to take on DeepSeek.
A couple of minutes to go here, guys. Even the EV names, XPeng, daily chart still looks great. Super strong.
Yesterday, Baba had a wall at 141. We shorted it twice in the afternoon show. The first time worked, got like 50 pennies. The second time it stopped out, but the 141 is the level. Just come quickly to the chart. We have a minute and a half to go. There's that top. I think that's where the bounce zone, in theory, looks like it could be. JD, I'm going to stay away from that. You gapped up and gave the entire move on JD.com. So, yeah, let that one lie. It's only gaps. It was a huge gap up on JD. For it to give it all back, not interested. That's the only one in China I'll be looking at today is Alibaba at that 41. And Rivian, by the way, on that imbalance, Rivian went all the way down into prior low. So we're going to keep an eye on Rivian. It wasn't on the list, but with a 1 million share sell imbalance, if it holds underneath that prior low from 2 days ago, that might end up a short opportunity as well. But just keeping it on the back burner.
All right, yeah, very excited here. Forget about it. I have Alibaba written down on the sticky note at 138. If it comes in, it comes in. It's a lot lower. Alibaba 138. I'm looking for that as a long. But all right, with less than a minute to go, man, we're looking to short the TQQs. I just put a bid in, an offer in for Intel. I'm going to try to get VWAP, which is rated around here, $20.50. So we'll see if that can come in, but there's Intel with a dip down. So we're looking for that. We're looking for AMD. We have less than 30 seconds. We're looking for, I want to thank everybody for watching. Hit the like and to subscribe. $99. This is already starting to go, man. It looks like we have to fade 100. This is going to be a nasty day. You can sort of already tell. And then we're trying to short Apple as well. So yeah, man, all the orders are ready to go with less than 10 seconds left. Well, a little more than 10 seconds left. Oops. This is brought to you by Foremost Clean Energy. As Adair goes back and forth, excited to start this day. 3, 2, and 1. All right, now we are now open. So, all right, U.S. market's now open. We'll wait to see what winds up happening. AMD trying to figure itself out right now. Be careful of volatility, that is for sure. Yeah, Intel cranking, just touched $20.
Already?
So, yeah, but it's coming back up a little bit here. Let's let it settle down. I think maybe the $20.
50.
Yeah, I know, that's the thing. I think the $20 break might be worth it. We'll try a little short here as it is trying to figure out that early imbalance. I mean, again, play the short back in. I'm going to short it if it breaks. That chart, 2020 maybe, 2025 as a stop for this play. But here we go. I'm going short as long as it fills. I don't know if we're not SSR. So we should be okay on a break right now of Intel. So I'm sitting here because that's what we're looking at. NASDAQ still going lower as well. So yeah, man, Intel,
one other look.
Not much happening there other than low.
Forgot to mention SMCI, which was down 5%, is actually rallying here.
Okay.
So it's almost through pre-market highs. That's what the market going down is, you guys just saw there. Prior low is 38.4 right here. There's that double bottom or whatever you want to call it from yesterday. So looking for the short into that level. I didn't even have my order out on that one. I was just staring down Intel like Sean was, looking for a different plan of action, which is going to be VWAP, or let me just cancel, don't need the 88 off. What's the point of having a 21 offer? We're going to get VWAP first. Nvidia, no pop there. When we're down like this, usually we're thinking pop at the open and be able to fade it. Nvidia, nowhere near that 115 level to try to grab any kind of a fade. Marvell as well, straight down off of the open. So if you're looking to short a pop, there hasn't really been a pop just yet. Position board, I'm sure they'll work on it. Yeah, I guess same thing.
Yeah, faulty again. All right, be patient. Yeah, we're sorry about that. We'll try to get that up for you ASAP, as it is the most important thing. All right, so Intel we're short right now. So there's Intel right here into the short, $20.15. If you come over here, Andre, we'll be able to show that. There's the short, so we're short now. We are short also AMD, as that's trying to break through 99. We'll take out 5% here if we can get it. We're short AMD right now at 99.25. So, excuse me, here's the push down for AMD. There it is. Thank you so much, Ramin and Ayal, whoever fixed that. All right, so here comes Intel. We did get that bid. So there's a quick little 20 cents cash register play so far on AMD. There it is as well on Intel. Neil, we're doing it again already. 2 for 2 to start the day. It's early, but it's okay. There goes AMD. AMD is trying to break through 99. I'm going to put another bid right here at 99. Fed's Harker now speaking. There's another 25 cents, and we're starting to hit lower right now. So let's get below this level, AMD. Where can we go? We're at yesterday's low right now, so hopefully lower. What's up?
We're talking about Origenics, OGEN, friend of the show here. This morning, they did submit their investigators brochure for their phase 2 clinical trial of ONP-002 in mild traumatic brain injury, or MTBI. Apparently, this treatment has studied demonstrated promising preclinical results and shows the potential to reduce inflammation, oxidative stress, and brain swelling. This is some of this was confirmed through phase 1. So now phase 2 clinical trial has had its investigators brochure submitted. Check out OGEN, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Dara. Shout out to them and to Origenics. So I'm at 20 quarter Intel. Yep. I'll get to SMCI in a second. It was just up at like 37, like 90 or 80 something. It's like underneath 37. It just fell like an absolute rock. So obviously didn't get that. But Marvell didn't pop into 75. Flat bottom break through the lows of 73. I'm shorted out in front of that 73 level. Scaling will be jacked up unless we zoom in there. There you go. You can see a little bit better now. It came right back into that prior high. Low, I should say. So we shorted into it, looking for the low of the day on Marvell at 72s. Here's SMCI. Yeah, so it came all the way to 37.8, was sitting there for the top, couldn't get it, went through VWAP, missed that too. SMCI is falling like everything else, like an absolute rock. So we did grab that Marvell. It's about 70 pennies in the money. Intel must have just come back a little bit here into VWAP, which is at the quarter mark, so I want to short back into the quarters. The market's headed down. I mean, I don't really see anything. Like the strongest stock I saw off the open was SMCI, and that just tanked like $1.30. So if there's a strong stock out there, you guys let me know in the chat. I see people talking about Google, but the short so far is so good, is at least what I'm looking at.
All right. Yeah, same kind of stuff happening for me here. We're still in these two shorts, so we'll wait to see if anything else is popping off here. Just a quick look at the NASDAQ.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it didn't really get to our levels, so we'll have to wait. I'm going to try to be patient. I'm actually going to cancel the TQ trade right now because it's a little bit higher, man. It's at $70. It's not. We're not going to get there right now. The 200 period is coming back in just a little bit here. Remember we started the short. We were talking about the short. The NASDAQ was down 0.4. Now you're down almost 2% right now on the NASDAQ and getting lower.
2%.
So, yeah, we're right at TQQ. Possible bouncing spot right here. Yesterday's low right there coming into play again. That's 67.50 on the NASDAQ. But oh boy, man, we're starting to get a little more juicy action here as we did get that short, and now we're starting to break below on AMD one more time. So another out right there at O's and another out at 75.
Oh, what the?
So we'll see. And that's the first out. Let's see if AMD wants to hold up as we're starting to get back in. I'm going to put another bid down in the 80s. Maybe we get that. We just got some more Intel up here. We'll wait to see what that wants to do. Short Intel right now at 18s. But it's AMD that's really coming into the downside now. So hopefully that will continue to work. And there it is, man. It is a face slapper for you to start the day here with AMD.
Google is super
strong, I hope you're going to say?
Oh, shoot. Sorry, I got to go to a different chart here for a second. There we go. We can come to the chart now. Shout out to the chat. There is a stock that is relatively strong. Alphabet just broke the pre-market highs. Let's see if it can continue. There's a little bit of relative strength here, but we have to go to the desk with Adara.
Let's talk about Worksport here. Our friends at Worksport. So one of their subsidiaries here, Tariff Energy, did announce that they had a positive reception for their recent unveiling of their AetherLux heat pump system, which included the incorporation of its zero frost technology. So Worksport here on Watch, is one of their subsidiaries here, announces a positive response for one of its heat pump systems, guys. WKSP this morning. Back to you. Make sure to like and subscribe.
So I'm going to get out at 2:30.
Position board prices are wrong. I have 77 short 72, 77 short Marvell. I do have 2020.
My AMD is right, but the Intel.
I'm short 2022 on Intel.
I'm close to being right.
So I'm short 2022 on Intel. I'm still in it, and I'm short Marvell at 72, 77. But this is Alphabet, which is going strongly upside. I don't want to say parabolic or anything like that, but it's certainly looking very strong over there on Alphabet. Nvidia as well. No break. Okay, what very briefly broke the low of the day and starting to come right back into the upside. So you're getting a little bit of a bottoming tail wick overall in the market. See, I'm in Intel with a stop here, which, oh, there you go. See, I was in it. Well, now the position board's correct on Intel because it just ran that high. So I'm out of Intel. We're still in Marvell, at least for now, but that's even starting to come back in here, retest that 73. I think if this gets back out and above VWAP, I'm going to get out because of the bottoming tail candle and look for another re-entry. I think this pop-up might also get me into SMCI, as SMCI right back at those lows. Remember, SMCI is the one that I actually missed. So if I can grab this, maybe heading back into VWAP on the way up. We wanted to be short SMCI as well, but didn't quite get it. It was going up when everything was going down. All right, it's staying down when everything else is up.
All right, new trade alert here. We'll wait to see what happens with Apple. We shorted Apple up there. It just went for a run, man, right into our 236. So something's brewing here with Apple, but we'll brew it up to the short side right now. Short Apple. Yeah, you're right. The position board's not working. They know that. Ramin, are you resetting the position board? The position board's not working. Okay, good. All right, so we are short Apple right now. As you can see, let's see if this one wants to come back in just a little bit for us. Also, man, AMD, right now we're short. I don't know how we're short. Oh, yeah, there it goes. Yeah, okay. So the whole market's starting to blast here a little bit, right? So I was looking at the prices. I was like, what are these prices exactly? All right, so we are going to get stopped out of Intel because it's right here at the 200 period. I wrote down 21 for Intel, but I don't really want to wait that high. We'll re-short it if it gets back up there, right? Like, things not working out right now for Intel short. So we're going to be short Intel right now at 30s, and we're 15 cents out. Not the end of the world, but definitely going against us right there. If Apple takes out 237, hey, look, man, the short rhetoric might be off. You know, yesterday we were looking long, turned out to be right. Today we're looking short. Let's see if we're going to be right. I don't know. But for right now, it's Intel short here at 30s. It's a tough position.
It's still not.
I don't know, but we haven't taken a hit on it yet, so we'll have to wait to see what's going on there. Apple does pull back, so we'll hit the sirens. We'll take a win on that early. But will it continue to fall down? Who knows? But there goes Apple. There goes AMD on a nice little reload as well. We'll put some bids out here. If we fall back in, then we've got it pretty good here on AMD. So, yeah, so far so good with the patience, but patience pays, but just hopefully a little bit more than it is right now. Here comes Apple, man. This is going to be a big trade. Honestly, if it can work out for us, we are bidding. There it is. Yes, sir. Nice move on Apple, baby. Nice move back in, man. 30 cents in the money on Apple and starting to cover a little bit there. I don't know what that move was about, but if the market does fade, we are very, very well positioned. So, again, the position board's getting worked on. I know yeah,
you got to take advantage of that fade. I'll tell you right now, you just said it on Apple. I reloaded VWAP on Marvell, was able to catch a bid when it moved down about 60 pennies, got the bid, and then right after that, in the time it took Sean to mention, to just say Apple in that move, it came right back to a pre-market high. So we got the reload. Thankfully, we were able to get it out there at 72.6, but now it's headed back in higher. So I'm out of that. Intel wicked the high, was able to jump out, but it's wick the high and jump back in. But it's SMCI, which is absolutely, what's that? Someone just took 50,000 up on the bid on Intel. I just took it out in front of that. But SMCI is breaking the lows. It's not even going back to the upside. So this is the miss for me because I never even got into this short. Next available pop in SMCI, I am going short. Whether it's in the pre-market lows or it's in the VWAP or even just one of these prior bar highs. Big swing and a miss for me on SMCI. But Intel, someone just took 50,000 shares on the bid right here. In one shot, they filled them. So when it got to the pre-market high, it wicked it. I got in right back underneath the prior bar, but it can't seem to get to VWAP on Intel. Google's still looking relatively strong. It wasn't on the trade plan at all, but it's SMCI that I got on my mind. Here it's starting to bounce with the NASDAQ. But so far, the NASDAQ's been in this little bit of a range. Like we've held the pre-market low to yesterday's low and back and forth twice now on the NASDAQ. So if it breaks a fresh low, great. Shorts are still going to be great, and I think they'll be fine. But if you break back into the top end of this range, got to be able to reevaluate. Didn't have a lot of long ideas out there that I liked, outside of unless Palantir got to a crazy level.
Yeah, man, no worries. You'll get it back. This is very, very early right here. It's unfortunate that you can't see our positions. I'm in 3 of them right now. Apple, yeah, I am saying them. Yeah. Ramin's working on the position board. She wants everyone to know that. We do apologize for it. Normally, we do have our positions at the bottom. I'm short Apple right now, 236, so 236.01. We'll see if that comes out. We just got some nice bids down low, though, on that one. 235.25s. Like, this was a good level for Apple. It's exactly what we wrote down on the sticky note, so we take it. Our AMD level is right now 99.62. So we're short right now, right here. I'll take another spot. I did put the stock, actually. So my stop, actually I don't have a stop here. We covered, and this is why our average price is where it is, because we were able to get out of that winner and then it popped upside. So I was actually looking for AMD still up here at 101 to be wrong. So I'm still going to try to hold out for that as here it comes right back in again. And then the biggest position here is going to be Intel. We get that up here at 2050. We're going to wait to see if it breaks through 2060, and we are trying to cover over there as well. So once again, we do apologize. We will try to get this working for everybody ASAP. And I know we had the same problem yesterday. We'll try to fix it right there. But there it is, Neil. It is your first dollar winner on the day, as there goes Apple straight to the downside. So we're kicking so far, man. Nice day there. Yesterday we were net short, let long at this time, and now today we are net short. It's a positive day. Hopefully you guys are having some good luck as well. There it is. So not going to be right, the position board, but at least there's something there. What's up, Adara?
Just be aware here, comments coming from Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada. He's saying that Canada is continuing to talk to the U.S. administration with the goal of getting tariffs lifted. So some tariff talk. We know these negotiations are still in place between Canada and the U.S. Justin Trudeau saying that the goal is to get these tariffs lifted. We'll have to wait and see if that comes to fruition. But just be aware, talks are apparently being had, guys. Back to you.
Yeah, so that's kind of, let's just call that a bit of a nothing. Talks are being had. Goal is to get rid of the tariffs. You don't say, oh, okay, I know what's happening now. I just covered some Intel at 2031, so that's why you would have, it's the first fill that I put in is going to be getting some short out at 2031. So that's what just popped in there. I'm obviously not long Intel, as you guys can see. I've only gone short. We were out of it once, and then we jumped back into it. SMCI is starting to come into VWAP. The other thing about SMCI, it's so far from the prior lows. That was the initial plan to short that 38.4. So we're working off of VWAP and the pre-market lows as well. So I have Intel short at 20.45, Marvell short at 72.75, SMCI short, that's correct. The shorts are correct. It's only Intel that's wrong for me. So it looks like it's okay with the exception. I guess that means it's not right.
I'll see if I'll take a fill here, if it will show the right positions for me. Hopefully we'll take one and we'll be able to get into it. Okay. All right, so we're just net short everything. Maybe we can start looking at some other stuff. We're short Apple, we're short AMD, we're short Intel. Pretty simple stuff here. Hopefully we start to get, there we go, I just took a fill. No. I'm too frustrated. I won't be entering any more positions, so I'm just going to wait to see what happens. We're now $1 plus in the money right now on that. I mean, I don't want to keep explaining the positions. We're net short everything right now, and we're hella up. So I'll leave it at that right now. Alibaba, I was looking at 138 to come into play. If that comes, great, but that's what I'm looking at, Alibaba right now. Apple, look, we're flat on AMD right now. We're flat on Intel. Looking for more, man. We talked about it. We're short Intel 32s. We're short AMD right here at 65s. And we're short $1 right here in the money on, and it's a big position on Apple. So we wrote down here Apple early that we like that short. We also like the TQQ short. So we did like the overall market there. The only thing that's really been disappointing, AMD's ran up and we were able to get a great price short, so I'm fine with that. The most disappointing thing has been Intel. And, you know, I know that it was a great green name for me yesterday, but we played it in the afternoon. So we're going to try to stay patient up to 2060. It could easily break that. I'm not in love with this. I would really love to get out if we do come back down. Intel not trading the way I thought it would today, that is for sure. You know, CHIPS Act, I thought it was a bad thing, and I don't like it. All right, the next fill should be correct. Right now, I am long nothing. So either that gets wiped out. I will take a fill right now to see. So I just took a fill. Okay, here we go. It's going to work. So this is going to work. So now all my positions should show up there on the bottom. So there we go. Looks like we're good to go here, Neil.
Yeah, it looks okay. Yeah, it looks right. I am long Palantir. It got to the first level. So Palantir goes into, there's 3 support levels. There's the low, yesterday's low. There's the higher low. There's the absolute bottom at 78. It just went trend reversion. I just drew this trend line. It just went a trend revert. So very quickly here, prior bar 84.5, where it's more like 84.44, where the stop is going to go underneath, and then play back into VWAP for Palantir. Just a mean reversion play here on PLTR. We said the only long I liked was if Palantir did a crazy move to the downside, like that trend down and reversion up, which it's done a couple of times in the last few days. So yeah, we'll see if someone heads to the upside. Not much has been all that strong this morning. So I guess if you're looking long, you had to find a kind of a support level or mean revert anywhere you can. Intel, I just typed it twice. right, we'll do this, go to the black chart while we're waiting for that to give me time to reload. Intel has been trending higher. There's no question about it. So I have a bid to try to get more out underneath VWAP at 2020, but if it runs a fresh high, I'm out. Not going to fight this stock. And at the end of the day, if it goes, I'm going to get in and I'm going to get out where my stops are going to be. So I played on SMCI, not at the level we wanted. We wanted it up here, but I played under VWAP. It broke prior bar high, so we jump out of the trade. That's it. And now we move on to the next opportunity. Intel, we'll see what happens there. Palantir, I just realized we didn't get our other fill down there. So I don't want to chase this up. I was trying to grab it through 84.50. I didn't get anything till 90. So I am trying to add to this position, but it has to be down closer to that 84 high to 84 mid to reload on Palantir, and we're out in front of 86.
All right. Yeah, Nvidia. I mean, we should look maybe at some Rigetti, maybe. So we could definitely have a quick look over there. We did short some more AMD. AMD is right here at 100. I am not going to be taking any more until like $100. I put down $100.80. I still want to look at 101. The issue here for me is that the Nasdaq is doing nothing, and it's just like you're battling with it. So I'm going to stay with my own rhetoric that I like the short. We're underneath the 50. We're underneath VWAP. If I have to withstand being flat on a couple of these trades for now, fine. But at the same time, definitely understanding that we could be wrong. Nvidia's trying to go right now. Obviously, if that goes, then AMD probably follows. So we're going to let it just settle down. It's not moving. I mean, the last time AMD did a move like this, I normally off the open, what I'm trying to get at is
rarely.
You had that big move there. Now you're up here. I just don't think it's going to hang out. It's 950 right now. There's a move coming. I'm just going to favor the short. Could be wrong, that's for sure. We are 10 cents away. We're short right now at 30s. We did cover some down there. We still have about 75% of this position on. And I don't want to reload. I don't want to reload any of the shorts. Let's just be wrong with what we have. We're not layering into anything right now. We're very, very comfortable with the amount of shares that we have. We're green on the day so far, but that's position pending. So again, you can ask us anytime if we're red or green or what we're doing or what's going on any of the stocks. I know we did have that position board down, but it is right now. So yeah, we're going to wait. It looks like we're about to get stopped out, which will put us red on Intel if it does run that top. So you were just in a couple positions.
Well, if I had winning stock off the open was going to be a long out of the four that I was in on my bingo card, I didn't, flat out. But I did just cover Palantir. We didn't get that ad, but it got to 86, so I just covered it there. I'm surprised. I really did think there were going to be some better shorts in there that you could hold on to. You had to basically it's right at the open that you had to have it. But we took our Intel. I'm always gonna get out when it runs that prior high. And so the last entry got to VWAP, and it's at that prior high right now. So the only way that I'm gonna continue to like this, gotta have it. You want to select your draw tool if you want to draw a trend line. Is if it holds the trend or holds the top, and it can break this trend. I didn't draw that very well. It's a little bit higher up. If it can break that trend, hold a double top, then I can reload what I got out in front of VWAP and then keep my stop in on Intel. Palantir gave you the revert. Let's see if it can continue. I mean, if Palantir holds VWAP and does the whole Palantir trend up thing to run all the shorts to the moon, great. But that was one shot mean reversion. And now I'm looking for back to the thesis, what's at our levels. I just looked up at Nvidia. That's getting close to 115. Which is, there you go, prior day lows where the bouncing was, 114.5 to 115. That's still underneath the pre-market high, so this is starting to set up. Nvidia was in the trade for me, but it could start to be one here at that 15 level.
All right, it's still Apple, it's still $1 in the money. As I said, I'm going to be positive today so far, positions pending, so we'll wait. Rigetti, congratulations, man. We did talk about that. Was another one that you could have had there. Have some water. Yeah, up to 850. We talked about that short float there today. Rigetti was down 11% or something. I'm not sure the exact number there. But yeah, down into $7. You know, I had mentioned that the hold, we had last gone long Rigetti at $6. In my own account, we got out at 9 on that same day, which turned out to be a mistake because it went to 14. But right there, Rigetti's having one of those days again, as we've just bounced off that low and just kept going all morning. So right now it's still going. I was going to say watch out for 850, but like we already took out that 825. Now it just continues. Wow. Okay, Neil. Now we're starting to get excited again. There goes, hopefully, Intel. We did get some more up there. We're short at 38. We're now in the money. Let's just start to piece a little bit out there. 37s, 38s on Intel. Apple's going to be a monster right now. So this is a big day for me here. We're starting to get this going. There's Apple, Neil. It's $1.50 now in the money. We have AMD now starting to go to the downside. So we are green over here today. Positions pending again. We said stick with it. Neil, have your confidence ready because we went short and stuck short there. This is what we talk about. Neil says it goes against him, gets out quickly. That's fine. Different trading styles, right? We all have our different styles. At the end of the day, you want to look down and you want to see red or green. And if it's red, it's not going to be a lot of red. That's the main idea. So we had our stops. Now that this is falling back in, let's take advantage of it. This market is just a real funny thing, man. Like at any point, anything can get turned on its head. So that's why we're taking some profits. Obviously, I can see the net right now, and it's been pretty good. So let's just hold on to these shorts. If the market does fade here, we're going to be huge. If not, we have our stops, and we've been taking profit to keep this day in the pocket. So there goes Apple. Again, like I don't know. This has been a big trade for me today. Here's Apple right here. We talked about 236 short, key level. Let's wait. Let's be patient. We got it, Neil. It's $1.50 now in the money. So let's see if Apple wants to continue to go. But this market is...
It's starting to look strong again.
I don't know what you're doing, but it's a pretty choppy day.
So look, I'm only like out of Palantir. Palantir's at 86 and going higher. So if you're thinking short and it reverts, I'm probably not thinking hold the long through VWAP and it's going to break highs. But Intel, I got 44.5 as a price. Yeah, whatever, it's rounding down this time, doesn't really matter. The high is 57, so we're risking 12, 13 cents. VWAP sits at that same level. So we got some out at VWAP at that 1-to-1, but there's just no follow through. I said if it broke trend, that I would add back in. Now can it hold on to that top? I still think it's a short up here, but the money fills have been, sort of at 50 and above as opposed to in the 40s, meaning that's the, like the good prices on the short. We call them money fills sometimes. And it can be above like a line. But anyways, if we get another reload, it's gonna have to continue to show these wick tops here. Like on the way up, let it wick and then get in. Because on the way down, when I'm in at 15, out there, and then we're in 25 and out there, like taking like 10 cents away each time. Like my style, I don't want to hold that 2 points against me. I'd rather find my way back into it, see if we can't build a better position. Because if we flush through the low of the day, Intel's breaking 20. That's just the kind of stock that it is.
Right.
Yeah, it's how that stock rolls. Palantir, I want to hold hope that if the market goes up, this is going to be the one because it's done this 2 days in a row. But it's starting to roll right back over to the downside. So no higher low yet on Palantir. If you're patient with it, it did it yesterday and did the day before. Initial flush, higher low. Even when it pulls back, you get the higher low. So if there's going to be a long on Palantir, I want to let's calm down. Don't want to jump into it too early because if you think the market's weak and Palantir goes lower, 78's in play.
Oh my. I just want to say, like, we're going to have completely different trading styles. Like I have right now, like many shares, so I'm going to start to cover into this area. Like Intel, we took those shares, we got nervous about it. So I'm covering at VWAP right now, and we just hit our 1 daily goal. So, but again, that's with all of these positions still pending. We still do have many shares on board. So we're going to start to exit out of some of these positions right now. So here goes AMD. Let's take some more out right here at VWAP. So just to let you know, we're out of about 40% of our AMD. We still have about 70% or so of Intel, and I'm going to start to cover it right here. Like, see how it's getting stronger? Like, it's bouncing off of that VWAP. I don't want to be here for it. We'd rather cover. We just got some more covers down there just to let it go, because see, now with this move back up, we're no longer at our 1 times daily goal. We're still in the money, but we just gave back half of our day by sitting there and holding and waiting for something to happen. So take advantage of it, man, and just trade what you're trading, and let's just keep going. So again, trade whatever size is comfortable for you guys, right? Apple right there, down $1. We're waiting for that. We just got a great fill. And this is what I'm trying to do, find out key levels. Like Apple was just down here, was a huge move down, and we didn't take enough advantage of that. So we got to do that. Like, these numbers are coming out. That's 234.70 right down there to the downside. So I'm going to put another bid down there, 234.75. We'll see if we can get out of some more, because now the market is trying to rip against us. So more covers. Yeah, I don't know if the market's ripping or not, but I mean, I could just tell by my net right now that we're fluctuating. So we've given back about half right there. And look what just happened to Rigetti. We're still up.
Oh, Nvidia just lost
right now. I do want to say right now a big shout out. I mean, I can see shout out to Adara is going to be there as well. Positive day for Adara, positive day for myself. Joe, congratulations too on a positive start so far there. So let's just keep it going, man. Apple, AMD, and Intel.
Yeah, Nvidia just broke VWAP, so I was like, oh, the market's coming back in there when I saw us go lower. But you have a big divergence between things. You've got Nvidia beneath VWAP. You've got Google breaking the high of the day right now. On Intel there, so, like I said, we got 44s, 45s, and there's our stop there, risking 13 cents. I just now am out half of it when it bounces off of VWAP. So don't want to let this one get away. Like when it pops 10 cents in the money, you have to ask how much are you risking to that high and what can you get out of it. So let's go over to Adara. It is time for Happening Now.
We're waiting here for some numbers. Right now, it's just about 10 a.m., so we should be getting these wholesale inventories revisions. There we go. So 0.8% versus 0.7% forecast and previous. Wholesale sales month over month actually negative 1.3% versus positive 0.5% expected and positive 1% previous. So again, wholesale inventories revised month over month, slightly above expectation. Wholesale sales month over month, lower than what we were expecting. We will have here at 12 p.m. comments from Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. I'll be covering that for you if anything is market moving there. Then at 2 p.m., Donald Trump is set to sign more executive orders. This has been announced within the last few hours because it wasn't here as of 8 a.m. So just certainly keep an eye on that. Donald Trump signing some executive orders. The market here trying to make a bit of a leg higher, a higher low of this drop at the open, but pretty weak start to the day for the SPY and the NASDAQ. That is for sure. About half the Meg 7 names are trading lower to start the day as well. Let's take a look here at some earnings plays though. Rigetti, RGTI with earnings initially pushing lower, now pushing to the upside. This one also is about a 25% short float, so decent short interest. Be careful with RGTI, as always. Then we have Zscaler, another earnings play from last night. They did beat on earnings and sales, but their guidance was a little bit tepid for Q3 2025. Just remember, after the close, we have Broadcom and Costco reporting, and other earnings plays you can check out today include MongoDB and Macy's, guys. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Dara. Yeah, so the number comes out, and of course, now we got to sort of like absorb what's going to happen right there. So again, look at all these covers. We just got another cover right there for Intel. Worried a little bit now. We just got down into VWAP again and bounced for AMD. So I do have more bids down there, and we're just going to wait to see what winds up happening now for these names. Again, pretty comfortable with what we're in, and just letting it happen naturally. Good covers down there, but trying to put some more orders at VWAP. Like, I don't need this profit to sort of vanish away, right? So we've been having a good day. We're just net short. The Apple 236 was huge. I don't even like that gap up there. Like, I'm not even sure even when it came in, I was like, Apple just gapped there? Like, that's pretty crazy, but still does do that gap, so we do have that fill, and we're taking advantage of that. Any dips down now, I mean, we might as well take another 235 fill, because again, we've got some more shares here, so we'll take a little bit of a dip in that. And then Intel, man, Intel's not exciting to me anymore. I do have lower bids. We can let this thing fall down for sure, but I am bidding. I'm just looking at my math here. We're bidding about 15% down here again at VWAP at 30s, and then we're down from, significant more, about 50% of our out if we can get it down here at 2020. I'm actually at 2018s for that downside play. So here it comes. We'll see if we can get a nice move down in for Intel. Like I said, we'll bid out 25% or so in and around, or sorry, 15% or so in and around 30s to 31s for Intel. Apple's trying to get back up to the upside as well. So I don't know, man. This is just a pretty wild day so far.
Yeah, I think Palantir is a long. We shouldn't have got out of it in the first place, but that was a plan of action. We were bearish on the market. It's stair-step to the upside. It's doing everything that it did yesterday and the day before, with the exception, I'd say, of having any kind of weakness after the first push. Like, these are the red candles on Palantir. Like, you can go back and see, like, there were real dips yesterday in the morning on the way to the upside. There's no real dip here. Like, it's just going sideways for a bit and then gone. So the next time, if it can go sideways off of VWAP, then I want to go long off of VWAP's just a line on a chart. I kind of like here a little bit better, like 85.8. So even if it dips under VWAP and holds these prior lows, this one should be a long. We were in it and we kind of let it go, and that's a mistake, like I said. I wish I could tell you that these were longs on Intel, but those higher lows aren't. Those are covers. And the only way that I get short again in front of this high is if it puts a wick high. Break 50, fail a little bit higher, and then short back underneath. Otherwise, it's time to look for some flips to the long side. Palantir being the first one, because that was one that I liked to the long in the first place. Looking for others, Google stands out. Google definitely stands out as one for sure, but let's go to Adara and then come back and find some more.
Yeah. Just to be clear here, I can see that Howard Lutnick is speaking on CNBC. That is the commerce secretary for the U.S., Howard Lutnick. He did make some comments recently as well, suggesting that Donald Trump would be willing to meet Canada and Mexico halfway on tariffs, and also making some comments about the potential strategic reserve for crypto. So Howard Lutnick does have the tendency to say things that move the market. Be aware, he is speaking on CNBC, guys. Watch the market. Back to you.
I mean, that is exactly what we're trying to do, is watch out for this market. I took a short here in Palantir. Let's see if it wants to work out for us. Again, short off the 200 period moving average. I'm just going to give this to 87.50, not even 88.50. I mean, I know this name is super strong and they can get on this. And it looks like right now, as the market continues to go higher, right now they're on Palantir, and that's fine. We're short. So we're short Palantir at 90s, as you can see. So we'll take a piece out like in the 50s if it can get down there. Don't know, again, where we're going to go here, but that's where we are bidding to take something out of PLTR. So, all right, that's going to be my play there. All right, the only thing that's in trouble now, obviously Palantir is still working. There goes Palantir, now 15 cents, now 20 cents. I do have a bid, 62s if we can get out of 20% of it. That will put us in 30 cents worth of a win, and we just got missed. Can you believe that? I think it went to 65 right there. So it's AMD, the only one that's in question so far here for me right now. What's that? Oh, there it is. We get it. Right there on Palantir, another 25 cents there. We'll wait to see if Palantir can get lower. What's up, Adara?
Howard Lutnick is still talking. He just said that the tariff reprieve that we're seeing with automakers, where they have 1 month until these tariffs come into effect, he said this is likely not just about automakers, and it could include all USMCA covered products. The USMCA is the United States, Mexico, and Canada trade agreement. I looked it up. It mostly covers auto and auto parts, chemicals, steel-intensive products, and textiles. So basically what he's saying is there could be a reprieve for quite a lot of these tariffs, but he said this is still going to only last 1 month. So Howard Lutnick hinting that this tariff break or exemption for U.S. autos could also apply to other things covered in the USMCA or the trade agreement, but again, only till April 2nd, 2025. Also, I'm just seeing some comments from Trudeau pop-in. I think they're from about 10 minutes ago, but worth noting. He did say that as long as there are tariffs from the U.S. that are completely unjustified, they will be responding strongly. He also said that the Canada-U.S. trade war is to persist for the foreseeable future. That's just me quoting him. Back to you.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, so I mean, look, I don't think we got anything too crazy out of that. There were every now and then you'd see like the book drop or move around a little bit. The other name is coming into play. We haven't traded Nvidia yet because it never got to those prior lows, which are now the pre-market highs, but you're starting to work into there. So 115 is the level. The market, it's clearly strong going into it, so let's let it get there before even considering the fade. Alphabet, we keep referring to it, and then going over things that are shorts. But Google looks real strong today. It just went green. I mean, you can look at the chart. The thing I don't like is that you're at a resistance spot. I don't want any part of a long at resistance. We talked about it this morning about breakouts in a general sense. So yeah, Google's too late. So it's Nvidia 115. Intel's right at that top right now, that 2060 level. So it's a good chance that it's going to run it right here. We're in it for the third time up here. If it breaks out that high, then we got to wait for 21s. And 21 will be next. So I think it's either 21 or 2060 breaking out here on Intel and I get out, or we're going to have Nvidia come into 115. So we're waiting for it to get there, show some kind of weakness, play the curl back in. Got to wait for a dip buy on Alphabet. I'm not taking any punches at the high of the day.
All right. Yeah, same kind of talk for me here as we just wait to see, you know, if the market's going to take out the top. I mean, it's running right now. We said that there was going to be a level that we decided to reverse into the long. I don't think we're there yet. It's just been, it hasn't really been, I was going to say it feels like a slow grind because like my net's kind of just doing this, but it's starting to get going a little bit. And I think the number one problem right now is Apple because, and again, we're out. We only have 30% left, but you're right at the top here. I don't really like all of this tariff talk because I have no idea where it's going to end up. I'd rather they just stop talking. I mean, it's better if they stop, but it seems like there is some relief happening here. So we'll short a little bit of Apple up here, but waiting out for 237. Adara with more news again.
We have more news. So Justin Trudeau, Prime Minister of Canada, said, quote, we're in discussions on possibly delaying the second wave of our planned tariffs. So in case you were not aware, in case you missed it, on, I believe, Tuesday, Justin Trudeau announced that Canada would have some tariffs going into effect immediately. That would be 25% tariffs on $30 billion Canadian of goods. Their second wave was supposed to happen in 21 days from that announcement, and it would be 25% tariffs on an additional $125 billion Canadian of goods. So that second wave, $125 billion wave, might not be happening. He said they're in discussions about delaying this new tariff wave, guys. So Canada potentially delaying another round of tariffs. Back to you.
Right, I'm not sure. So right now, Palantir, we did get a reload up there, and we did get some more out. So we got some out in the 90s right now on Palantir. Palantir, 40 cents in the money, but again, like just tipsy-turvy here with the futures. Thanks for that reporting there, Adara. Apple, okay. We did it again. We got some more shares upside, but does that mean that we can get them out? I don't know. We're bidding now in and around 236. Maybe we do get that fall. Okay, there it is. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right now, so that's a good trade there for us. Neil, Palantir's now 50 cents in the money. Shh, the whisperers here. We'll figure out what's going on with Palantir again. Nice push down in. There it is, man. Palantir, one more time. Nice trades back into the downside there for PLTR. Let's go. It is going to be your P&L number one name here so far today for us, Palantir. Intel's a little bit of a problem. I know you're on that as well. We're right here at $20.60.
Yeah, it didn't break the high. It kind of wicked the pre-market high. They're at a dark pool wick that went through. No, it just broke the high now. So I got back in at the same price, but it's not broken the top as far as I'm concerned. So I'm out of it. That was just a 63 print. Slap to fail on Intel. 2 days in a row, it's been a good short. Right now, it is not. It's higher lows and continue to trend up. Nvidia got to 115. Again, these are just dark pool wicks. Ignore that. The pre-market high, at least from after 6 o'clock, that's what we track. That's where I track it from, is 115.14. But then remember, this was also a quadruple bottom yesterday. So support to resistance, playing it back into VWAP here on Nvidia. Alphabet still tracking and looking really strong in here. Might pull back into VWAP. And we're talking about this. We got some questions addressing a webinar this morning about trends up in VWAP. Yeah. If it's respecting VWAP and an upward trend and you like the long, that's a good place to try to get back in or get in the first place. So Alphabet, relatively strong, no question about it. I like VWAP in here if we can grab it. And then just before we go to Adara, Rigetti reported, obviously was down, now 6% up. It just bounced off $8 and went back into the high. I think you can safely say this has the potential to squeeze at this point. So that's a big reversal, trap some shorts down here and break it out. I actually think this is a better opportunity than Google just on a percentage basis. So I think looking for a dip on Rigetti is just going to pay you off a little bit better than it will on Alphabet. Dara.
Just keep an eye here on Macy's, another earnings name on watch. I mentioned this one a bit earlier, and it was on the watch list, but in case you missed it, Here's the move because it's bounced really nicely. They did beat here on earnings per share, but missed on sales. Their guidance lower than expected for both revenue and earnings for fiscal 2025, I guess there. But also we have some comments, just be aware, comments coming out from Vladimir Putin of Russia. So be aware for any geopolitical tensions, those can move the markets. Also, Donald Trump posting here about the massive trade deficit with the world was just announced. So he will change that. We got trade numbers earlier today. Donald Trump says that he will be changing the trade deficit. So keep an eye on that. We know that the trade and tariffs, of course, have been on watch as of late, guys. Back to you.
He will be changing the trade deficit.
Yes,
well,
he will.
You know, there's certain things that aren't completely in your control that have to do with that. You got to worry about the U.S. dollar. Is that going to get any weaker? I mean, come on, man. You had the ECB lowering rates, everybody. And the U.S. isn't doing anything. That's not going to make the dollar weaker. So come on, Nvidia, get down. I know you want stocks to go up, and the market is actually, the ES just has broken through VWAP. It's tracking highs, and NASDAQ's broken through VWAP. Cannot get filled on the south side of 50s here on Nvidia. So I'm going to try to bid right there at 50. Oh, never mind.
Go.
I did just get filled on the south side of 50s on Nvidia. So we'll play it into VWAP in here. It's held the 115 level. If we can get VWAP, great. And we might get a chance to dip buy on Rigetti after all of this. But like the fail for me is going to be I liked Intel 2 days in a row, but that's it breaking out the high. It is just completely upside at this point on Intel. If it does work, it's going to have to break the day-long trend. So now you've got a big higher low put in. You got to do something along those lines. All right, Nvidia, get down into VWAP because this is when we want to work in here. Patiently wait for that price. It finally got there. And then I remind myself, what's the price I like the most on Intel? 21. It's at 2060. The even dollars have been paying out the best on that stock.
All right, so tough morning so far for these shorts, but we'll see if they can still pay out, man. I mean, the only stock that we've taken a hit on here is Intel, and for good reason, man. I mean, it's actually up right now. Like, that's a great trend higher. I'm going to sit in it just against 70s there. Again, that's where we closed yesterday. We'll see if it holds it. We're going to sit in that one. I don't know if Palantir is a short or not, but it's 70 cents in the money. So we're going to start. There it is. Take some more out here. Palantir. Been great off the 200 period moving average. You know, with this market at highs, I don't think this is a short. So we're already out of 65%. I'm going to put another bid right there. We just got more before it just ripped up there. Out now on Palantir. Like, this market rips. This stock is ripping people's faces off. So let's get some more out there on Palantir and stay positive on it as we watch out for these futures now ticking highs. We wrote down on the TQQs that we wanted to. We're still, like, considering all the thousands of shares I've traded today, we're still well in the pocket. We're going to be red because we're holding on to some of these right now. Without Intel, we're green, but we can't say without a stock. We're waiting for TQQ to come up to $70. And so if that can get there, then I feel like that would be that short that we're looking for. Right there, there's 70. It's your 200 period moving average on a 5-minute chart. So we'll look to see if that can hit right there. So there goes Intel. We tried it one more time against 70, I guess. I don't know if it broke there or not, but we did get out of Intel. So our only red stock today is going to be Intel. What's up, Adara?
We have more comments coming through from Howard Lutnick, who is the U.S. Secretary of Commerce. And I do want to clarify, this is just the market, that Howard Lutnick, he's not, of course, Donald Trump, who was the president. He's just making comments, and he has made comments before that have not necessarily been timely and or come to fruition. But regardless, it's worth noting, he did say that the expectation is that the April 2nd reciprocal tariffs will be starting high and then start to come down. As mentioned earlier, he did say that the plan is to make everything that's USMCA compliant or compliant with the US-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. That could, much like the auto tariffs, be deferred for a month. Now, in terms of how much of the goods in question are compliant, he said it's probably roughly 50% of Canada and Mexico products, but, quote, that is an off-the-cuff estimate. So basically, long story short, Howard Lutnick's comments imply that roughly 50% of Canadian and Mexico products might be, I guess, viable for a potential exemption until April 2nd, at which point we'll get tariffs, reciprocal tariffs, but these reciprocal tariffs might also come down lower. So lots of comments of a variety of nature from Howard Lutnick, basically just suggesting that these tariff talks are still continuing. Speaking of Lutnick, Justin Trudeau of Canada just said that Lutnick's most recent comments are, quote, a promising sign, and it aligns with some of the conversations that Trudeau has been having with officials from the administration. Back to you.
So a bit of a bounce here in Bitcoin here. 91. Ooh, yeah, the scaling. I don't know what it is about that chart. Every time I come in, my scaling's changed. I have to fix it again. 91, and you're heading right into, it's like 91.8 or 91.6 to 91.8's been resistance on the chart. So look for it to get in there. Maybe there's a reversion, but strong moves. Just want to acknowledge it. Not trading any. I think it's the first time this week that I wasn't looking at Bitcoin, but here comes 115 and that pre-market high on Nvidia. So we're able to get some out. Oh yeah. I'm only in Nvidia right now, so yeah, you're right. I just looked up and I'm like, yeah, you're all the highs. So this pre-market top, if it breaks it, I'm out. If it wicks it and does a stop like this, then I get back in, and then we work off and see if it can work down into VWAP. But right now, you're just trending to the upside. I know I'm going to look at Google right now and say, okay, there wasn't a good chance to get in, so I probably wouldn't have got into Alphabet. All right, I feel a little bit better about that. Like, there was no dip that I would have reasonably taken on Alphabet, but here's a wick at 115. That means re-entry onto Nvidia. I want to see if I can get 80s in here. Still giving it to that same high. Should be willing to take something in the 70s like last time and then play back into VWAP. Rigetti has shown zero signs of pulling back, everybody. I said I'm not taking that top break. Rigetti's just going to have to wait. If it does go full squeeze zone, I think we'll have a chance at it later. But we're back in to what we covered on Nvidia and still have the stop at that. It's about 115.25 on NVDA as we're just rocketing to the upside in this market.
Yeah, big time rocketing up right now to the upside. So, yeah, look, we got Palantir still green for us, but we did get stopped out. We talked about that. It just made a high into 88 and then came back in. So I shorted 65. I mean, I wish we would have got much better, man, prices. But unfortunately, by the time I noticed it, it was already back in 30 cents. So the high of the day there right now for Palantir is 88. So I'm going to go short against that. I do notice that we have this level here, 88.25. I think you can wait for that if you really wanted to do something, but I'm going to wait for an 88 break. If we break too much above that, then we can reverse out. Look, again, Apple, we'll be red on Apple. We'll be red about like 1 or 2 units or so on Apple there because it does take out the top. We did have a good move there, but we were trying to think about that level there. And of course, the futures just continued. We're still down that 1%, so I'm still happy thinking about the short, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the short's going to come in. All right, there's Intel. We re-shorted it. We just looked at our sticky note, and it's like we didn't even want to get short Intel till 21. So we got excited there early and just trying to play off pre-market highs because we thought the market was going to be down. But then when we break higher, we just need to get back to the strategy that we had sort of thought about in the beginning. And that was going to be short this. So let's stay short until we break 21. We do have more offers upside right here, so we'll take a position. We're in a position. So if it breaks, it breaks. But for right now, we got to wait, and that's what we're trying to do. So be patient with this as this move continues to go to the upside. Sort of the show just continues, man. I mean, I still want to be negative on the trade. I'm just not sure. Like, here's the triple Qs. Again, just to have a look at it on a 30-minute chart. Like, I still feel, although we took out the 50-period moving average, there's this look right here, 498 and change, all the way up to 500. I kind of want to be short until 502, 503, but that's more of a longer-term play. We have to deal with the positions that we have right in front of us because we're intraday traders. So be careful with whatever you're doing now today. AMD getting up to that 101 again. So let's put more shares on as we get into 101. That's the area that we liked. We have to stick to our guns at some point here. So let's do that. We're still in the short, but stocks are getting real frothy right now to the upside. Still down 1%, but some of these NASDAQ names really rebounding. Shorting Palantir, not right, it looks like.
Yeah, no question about it. Was that a call for Adair?
I don't think so.
Okay, we'll go to Adair for the small cap recap.
All right.
A lot of small caps having some big days today. We're going to start though with the IWM, the Russell 2000, bouncing here, not quite a double bottom on the 15-minute chart, but nice bounce off this 204.70 level, currently just above 207. Nice recovery for that Russell 2000, the IWM. First name here is AEON. This is Aeon Biopharma. Penny stock about 80 cents at the high. Couldn't find any news on this one, but it does have about a 350,000 share float, so very small float for AEON. Then we have KITT. This is not a KISS Robotics. This name has run in the past pretty frequently. Announced last night they're intending to acquire C-Trapid International. So acquisition interest here from KITT. Then last but not least, ALXO. This one has a notable 19% short float. It's also one that's run in the past. ALX Oncology basically highlighting this development plan for their evorpacept treatment, which has been used to treat a couple different cancers in a trial process. This was through an R&D Day webcast event. So research and development on watch for ALX. Also getting a price target increase from Jefferies. So make sure to like and subscribe as we send you back to the guys.
Yo.
Thank you, Adara. And yeah, I said wait for 21. 21 here now. 2090, 89 at least on Intel. So this was the prior high. It wasn't just at the close yesterday. It was also where it was in the open, where the shorts were actually working. So every single time we actually there were some good spots where you could get at the $0.50 into VWAP, but that's about it for Intel. I just went over to Rigetti's absolutely flying at this point. It hasn't really done a big pullback outside of the one into VWAP, so we know this can fall 50 cents in a heartbeat. So keeping a close eye on it. I want to see if it can hold the higher lows and maybe dip into VWAP and catch the next available dip in Rigetti. It doesn't really matter what the report is. They don't make money. It's a squeeze potential name, 25% short float. So if it wants to go up, it's just going to go, and it doesn't really matter. And it's into a strong market as well. So Rigetti, VWAP, it doesn't look like it has a chance to get that close to it. So Nvidia ran the top, but it just wicked it. So I'm always going to get out when it runs through the stop level and then try to get back underneath that 115. Unlike Intel, Nvidia is at least at the 115 level. Like that's the price that we liked. So let's see if it can get to VWAP this second time through. So Rigetti, we're still watching Intel for the 21 and then Nvidia at the 115 level as well. Yeah, Bitcoin kind of pulled back off that 91,000 level for all the strength that it just had.
All right. I don't look. We reshorted AMD right now. It's trying to work out for us. We're into the TQQs. Why? Because we had said this was the price we wanted to short 70. So we're there shorting 70. I'm in it late because I wanted just to see if there was some sort of a pullback in. So the high of the day is $70.20. So we're going to wait to see so we'll take a little bit of a profit there. We're going to wait to see right here what comes through. Put the stop out there, 70. 30. Let's just take a little bit of a run at the top. $70.30 there at the top. Here it comes back in, man. Nice pickup for us here on the futures as it's coming screaming back in there. We'll take some more 75s. It's a 20 handle win. We said that we would want to short the futures. The only name that we were really patient enough for there today is this one, and it's a good one. So far. Anyways, I don't know. We're out already of 20% of it for those 20 handles or so. Let's wait to see if we can get even lower. I would say a good spot right here, 69.50s. Here it goes. Look at it, just getting aggressive again to the upside. So let's put a bid down there, 69.50. We'll see if we can get something on the TQQs. Right now, short 95. So you can cover it all right now and put this in our pocket. Look, Neil, I'll tell you if you tell me, man. I have one green stock today.
Palantir's the only green one that's a long.
There we go. So Neil
and it's a long.
One green.
And it's a long. I came in here thinking no longs.
Okay, here we go.
That's by the way.
Futures.
Yeah, we just came back in. Well, it turned to the camera and turned back, and Nvidia just dropped. About 50 pennies in there. Look, the buyers came in last time at 114.20 on Nvidia, so I want to make sure we get a couple outs there, and it's same plan. Play it out back into VWAP. If we get VWAP, great. So right now, I'm on the bid at 42, I believe. Check that. I was not on the bid at 42.
It was short.
That's the price that we like. Now we're on the bid at 42. Just got the 42 fill there. And now we're looking for VWAP on Nvidia.
Let's go.
Intel just broke the trend line as well, but I was in Nvidia when it happened. So there's Intel breaking the trend line. Oh, that shorts to 90. So we need to get something at the 80 level on Intel. One at a time, though. One at a time.
Thank you, Monty G. We did call that TQQ play. Bang, man, the chef is in the building right there, but we are not in the building on Palantir. Our last short was 88. We got stopped out at 88.20s, that high of the day. But it looks like it does hold. It basically broke it by like 10 cents to give us that dollar right there, dollar plus. It doesn't matter, we don't have it.
Kill somebody.
All right, so anyways, we covered more than 50, we covered actually 70% of the futures. We called this right into this level. So shout out to Monty G, shout out to everybody as well. We covered into 69.50 right there for the TQs. I mean, basically playbook, man. We wanted that. We are nervous. Like, I mean, if the futures drop down, fine. We'll be able to hold a little bit. Let's put something else. Okay, here it comes. I'm gonna put. I'll put another 5% here in the 50s. If that hits, great. But then my next little level there, 69.15 or so to come into play for the TQQ. So let's just put that in right now. We'll put about a 10% of that trade right there. We did not get anything out. I mean, that went to 72. I'm actually bidding 72, ironically enough, but it was on ARCA, so didn't have a chance to get it. It's gonna have to break the level to get on that gateway, because again, they pay the most rebates pretty much. So I'm gonna wait there for ARCA to come in and give me that fill. But yeah, right here, hopefully we do drop through on Intel. We were weighted at 93. We missed that fill. Yeah, all right. So again, one positive name so far here today is going to be the futures. And then, well, you know what? I mean, AMD's positive, but we got to wait for this trade. We just didn't cover it again down there at $100.15. So I don't know, man. I'm just going to start putting some bids out to try to cover some of these plays because the market is definitely running longs. So just it's running long and running our shorts out of the building. So be careful with what we're doing here. TQ's all the way back to 70. It's been a fun day, but definitely more fun for the longs. Man, we were long yesterday and we switched it up today. I'm still going to be net short as we go over, and we'll figure out Neil's positions after this.
Well, I'm in only shorts.
Okay, so we're okay. You can see the positions there. All right, so same rhetoric.
Kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah, we haven't done crypto too much, but 91,000 is holding. So I think it was maybe Bitcoin.
And it held all morning, Adara.
Yeah, good position.
Nice hold for Bitcoin. It's worth noting that one of the biggest stocks in this space, MSTR, is actually above that $300 level, trading around 317 right now. So good look for Bitcoin. Let's talk about Bitcoin itself. This is BTC on the daily chart. Right now, making some lower lows. So you get lower highs, higher lows here off of this 3-day drop we had last week. So let's see what we do here. As mentioned by Neil, holding nicely here, just below 91,000 as of right now, and poised for a 3-day winning streak. So good look for Bitcoin, but really who's going to be center of the focus for Bitcoin this week is this individual. His name is David Sachs. This is admittedly a slightly older photo of him, but he is the White House's AI and crypto czar, and he's expected to lead tomorrow's White House Crypto Summit. I've seen some questions in the chat about it, so we actually don't have that much information, but I'll tell you what I'm aware of. It's going to take place from 1:30 p.m. to 5:30 p.m. tomorrow, Friday, March 7th. Again, David Sachs is expected to lead this event, but we're not even really sure if that is the case, though again, as crypto czar, it's very likely he will be. A lot of people are expecting an update here about this crypto reserve. Donald Trump teased this reserve, which could include Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and Ripple, and Solana. He teased this on Sunday. We had some comments from Howard Lutnick about it as well, so we'll have to wait and see what happens. But he could be the center of attention as we await the Crypto Summit tomorrow, 1:30 p.m. Eastern to 5:30 p.m. Eastern. So that's the deal there. In terms of other cryptos here, everything pretty strong. XRP up 7%, Ethereum 3.5%, Solana almost 6%, Doge almost 4%, but Cardano actually slightly red today, guys. Back to you.
Thank you very much, everybody. You can see it on the screen right here. Trade money, gain real experience with the Real Trading Campus program. It's back because if you're ready to become a real trader, the next training cohort for Real Trading Campus kicks off March 24th. This time, they're expanding their reach. If you live outside of the U.S., it's a chance to apply and join this program. You're going to trade U.S. equities during regular market hours, so be sure you're available for the continuous U.S. session. You've got market microstructure, marketplaces and venues, different order types you're going to learn, professional execution as well in 4 separate phases. all culminating with the chance to go live in a funded account. Space is limited, everybody, so don't wait around. These tend to fill up really, really quickly. So if you're outside of the US, you want to trade on a professional platform like we do here at Real Trading, then here is your chance. It does require your time. Not going to lie to you about that. You're going to be trading every single day. You're going to be spending at least a few hours a day each day in the market. You're going to have one-on-one coaching, and you got to execute, and you got to be willing to learn. But if you have a passion for trading, it doesn't cost you anything but that time. So scan the QR code in front of you. Go to realtrading.com/campus. Start your journey. How's about nowish, everybody? So shout out to Real Trading. Appreciate them for that. I mean, we always talk about trading being hard, and I'm not afraid to say that it is, but it's always difficult for me to be too overly negative in trading because it's given me everything. And I haven't done anything else, so I can't be overly negative about it. But I can tell you, I learned a lot from the mistakes and successes of other traders on the trading floor over the years. It's an invaluable experience, so take advantage of it. Nvidia just did another, I didn't get filled there, just did another lower high, wicking the 115 level, now starting to work back into the downside. So unfortunately, I just didn't get picked up there on the 115. I'm going to leave it in, see if we can't get it. We still have the original position underneath 115. Position pending. We'll see if this one can get to VWAP. So far, so good on that name. We missed the trend break on Intel because we were trading Nvidia. That was this trend break, but it came right back into the high. Holds the lower high at 2090, first bids at 75 at pre-market high and this level. And then if I zoom it out a little bit further, you can see the range when it was up here in the afternoon. Found support at 66, so bid there. The opening range top here was at like 55, bid there, and then VWAP, right? So we have our bids kind of strategically in front of the key price levels on Intel. If it falls into VWAP, this will finally look a heck of a lot better for a short trade. The other name, everybody, is just this Rigetti. Like Rigetti, rocket ship, red to green on earnings, super strong name, starting to pull back into VWAP for the second time here today. Haven't traded Rigetti. I feel like it was a miss. And when going through, I'll call a spade. When going through all of the names that were in play today, I kind of missed this one. And then now you just got to work over into what's an incredibly strong name. So we get to VWAP. I'm looking for a bottoming tail candle and a reversal here on our GTI. So far, so good on Nvidia, at least, as hopefully that'll join Palantir, but it's position pending. I just tried to add to it and didn't. We get to VWAP, we'll be green on it, but it's still a kind of upward trending market, at least for now. But so far, it's looking a little bit better on these latest shorts.
Okay.
Coffee is good.
Coffee, yeah, we got another refill there of the coffee.
Oh, that's the Thing shirt. Nice, I like that.
This is that infamous salmon shirt that is probably 7 or 8 years old.
Yeah.
Well, when did we start the show? I don't know.
Five
years ago. Okay, so 5 years old. All right. We now have multiple names that are positive for us here today. There goes AMD. So, if we're just patient, man, like we don't have any, first of all, AMD's fine. We stair-stepped it up. We got out. We never got burned on AMD, thankfully. But we wrote down on our sticky note 101. We wrote down on our sticky note up here 70. Well, TQs is fine. We wrote down on Apple 236. So this one I can't hate on because there's the 236 short. We nailed that for $1.50. The problem is we're red on this. Well, we were red, but barely. This is not the problem for me. Actually, we're not really red on anything. We're red on Intel is the most severe one. But then, we shouldn't be short up here then. Once 236 breaks with confidence, gets to 237, it's too much. We should not have re-shorted into this area. Okay, so, bad job. Right there, not a great trade. But the futures, okay, so now we're bouncing around here. Let's take another advantage of this down here at this spot. I was talking to Joe. There's one thing trading to make money. There's another thing trading for the show. I'm trying to make money. And I said to Joe, I think it sometimes looks ridiculous when I have all of these outs like this because it's most traders that are trading the futures probably wouldn't be scalping it this way. But then Joe set me aside and was just like, dude, you got to trade if you're here to try to trade to make money, don't worry about how it looks on the show. And I think that that's been something for me that I've had to battle with. And I'm always saying, like, you know, I have this many shares, that many shares. It doesn't really matter who has what. I think at the end of the day, if you're red, you're red. If you're green, you're green. The net is completely up to you. It's not even relevant to anybody's discussion. Everyone can trade what they're doing. And that's why I'm saying, like, ask us, like, how many red stocks do we have? How many green stocks do we have? And then up to that, after that, it doesn't really matter. Like, all of these ideas, like, we're getting out of AMD. I'm telling you, I'm nervous. It's at the 50-period moving average. We're green on the stock, but if it runs, then we're screwed. So you got to try to be, like, as patient and, like, sticking to what you're doing, because if I get too caught up, like, looking at the net and worried about what my positions are, you have to trade your blotter and trade your ideas. And I mean, that's the number one thing across the whole board. And here we go again. Like, I know what my number one problem is: sticking in names and being stubborn with them. Like, I just told you, my worst play today was Intel. So I averaging into it again? Like, anyways, we wrote down 21 on here, so we want to try to be patient. Now we're short here at $20.87. Feel much more comfortable about this play than we did, like, blowing it all right here. So let's give it a spot. If it does break above, we have our order to get out on a break of 21. So if that happens, we're out. And that would be the end of that play. I see you were short as well, and you got stopped. Like, so we're all going to have.
It broke the high of the day. So
exactly.
Like, it's like, and again, you'll always see me, generally speaking, unless I've keystroked in the past. Sometimes you place an incorrect stop order. But if I take that trade, I'm out on the break. And then I wait for the other high. And the next high is 21 into 21.10. So I'll take another shot up there. But it's always going to be that tight stop. Nvidia is still doing its, before we go to Adara, Rigetti just pulled back. And I now am, I'm trying to I didn't actually get filled on Rigetti. So it just did this dip on Rigetti. So since it bounced off VWAP, it just put in a higher low off $8.50. I want to see if we can't get the 860 as we're going to go back over to Adara. I want in on Rigetti, but it's now, forget about VWAP, it's the trend line. It's just the trend. If it breaks this prior low, I want to be out. So I want to risk 20 cents on Rigetti to be able to play into the highs. RGTI is a rocket ship. Adara?
The whole market.
Keep an eye here in TNXP. Speaking of rocket ships, it's dropped a little bit since then, but Tonix Pharmaceuticals, I'm not seeing any news on this, but it has about a 187 million share float. And we also want to take the time to thank our friends at eSignal. Traders, listen up. First month, free. That's right, we're waiving fees. Trade smarter, not harder. Upgrade to Elite. Analyze, strategize, capitalize. Our platform, it is everything. Infinite data, instant trading, lightning fast market insights, game-changing charts predicted with back-testing, reliable, real-time data. Global markets at your fingertips. All in one platform, so do not miss out. Execute your best trades now with eSignal. Are you ready to elevate your trading? Scan that QR code or click the link in the description. Back to you.
Are you ready for it? Yeah, so there goes the TQs. So again,
Mara's
staying in the pocket with it, but there it goes blasting higher. So we might have liked the short, but hard to like the short now as we are well above everything, man. We said that there was going to be a time where maybe we flipped long. I guess we should have just trusted VWAP and then we would be absolutely huge. But again, was thinking the short, and I actually think that this is a very hard time to intraday trade. Even though we had the long yesterday and we were really celebrating, it's just with all this news coming out, Commerce Secretary this, President that, Trudeau this, it's just like all this tariff talk is making it very difficult to layer into some of these.
That's why I'm mad about Rigetti, because not going over Rigetti in the pre-market, Rigetti was quite possibly the cleanest scenario for a trade. Something that if it starts going, you don't have to worry as much about all the nonsense and the talk that's going through, because it's a simple squeeze play. It was down because everything else was gap down. It broke past the prior highs. It was a breakout through prior lows. It was a breakout at the pre-market high, the prior lows, the prior highs. Every single breakout worked on Rigetti. Now I'm trying to grab it through VWAP, through the higher low here. If we get VWAP, we get it, but I want to get into this trade. And again, sometimes it's just that preparation aspect, like, a little bit less time this morning than usual to go through all the list of names, and might have missed a couple. Didn't really talk about what's blowing up on my eSignal trade rate is Mara. Like, this has actually been near the top of the list the entire time as Bitcoin continues to go. And there's a pretty standard long setup. Like there's your stair step up, there's the prior high, it pulls back in, VWAP, same thing. So, got to try to get into some of these longs. As I said, Rigetti, I'm trying to get this 860 right now, give it to the 840 level. I believe that's another call. We have sector watch. Let's go to Adara, maybe see what else might be relatively strong and weak that we can work ourselves into. I already know I want Rigetti.
Have to go long now.
It's interesting because despite this bounce in the market, there's actually very little green in this sector board. We have a lot of weakness in finance, health technology, consumer services, some sharply red names, including Airbnb and Starbucks, commercial services, consumer durables, Tesla leading the way to the downside, with some of these other names relatively strong. Utilities really weak. Producer manufacturing has a lot of weakness. Retail trade lightly red here. And then let's talk about these tech sectors because a lot of names here are selling off quite aggressively. Broadcom down here, Netflix, Oracle, Palantir all weak. Meta slightly red as well. But two Big 7 names are trying to buoy the market. They're Google and Apple. So keep an eye on these two. AAPL, we know we had Ming-Chi Kuo, noted supply chain analyst, commenting earlier today that he thinks this foldable iPhone could begin production late next year. So keep an eye on this market. It is interesting, though, given that bounce, that there's not as much green as the sector board as you might expect.
All right. Thanks, Adara, for all of that update. Look, man, I mean, we finally went long on Intel. We were horrible shorting Intel all day. But never fear, we have the ability to flip over our positions. So right there, as the market is taking out days high right now, obviously thanks to Derek for that update as we look at different sectors, we look at the DXY, obviously, US dollar moving around, bang, here we go, Neil. We make back right there a third of position pending again. We'll take some more outs there at 11, but position pending, we get a third back on Intel, finally going long, breaking that 21. We said we'd have to find a spot. I'm gonna get out of another piece right there of Intel. So we just got out there of 70% of it, some at 09, some at 11s. And then we'll wait to see what winds up happening now with Intel. I was gonna use again, on that short, not horrible. We were able to get something out there at 91s, but I'm gonna use that now as our area to get out the other way. So we could still lose. I mean, obviously it's pulling back. We're only long here at 02. Although the market is trying to go higher, you could see Intel right now trying to pull back a little bit. Let's see if it can ramp up and get going long now. AMD breaking 101. So we didn't really average back into this trade. We took one fill there at 80. We got not it all out, but we got some out here. So my stop is at $100, 101.11s. So 10 more cents up and we'll get out of that one. Obviously, holding short AMD and long Intel, probably not going to work. I mean, they're both really ramping upside right now. So if this does pull back, we'll get out of some. But for right now, we're 3 times the shares, obviously, in Intel. That we are a little bit more than that than we are in AMD because, again, Intel's a $20 stock. But here goes, it looks like AMD will be a red stock for us as well, as that's going to run the top now finally. So, yeah, man, the short's not printing here today, but we did get some money back going long a little bit there on Intel. So, yeah, man, I lost the plot right off the jump, man. We were short early, but again, I feel okay with stuff. Like Palantir was fine. Obviously, we had that short and that pulled right back. If there was anything that's not at the highs right now that we were shorting, it's Palantir. Palantir is under every single spot that we were short. So, sometimes it is about the prices that you pick. Try to be patient with your trades. And we weren't really that patient with Palantir. We gave it a go. And we were able to take some money out of it. But at the end of the day, it does run that top before making a VWAP stance right now. So this is also another possible long spot for Palantir.
Rigetti just broke the high again.
That doesn't hit the like and subscribe button.
That's right.
That's right.
I gotta get a haircut just like that for when I go to Florida. I'm overdue. I know it looks short, but I need one. Palantir for my only green stock to be a fail, it is one. Why? Because I kind of missed the full entry, and there was probably a higher low that I could have worked off of right in there. Didn't get it. Not going to chase it. Market's at highs, and it's down all the way at VWAP. That doesn't look that good. Come on, Rigetti. All right, so if it pulls more than 40, 50 cents away from my bid to the upside, then I don't leave the bid in because that way you're getting long if it kind of rinses to the downside, which is not what I want. So Rigetti just broke the high another time here. Going to look for the next available dip. I want to join this trend, but I don't want to force it. I hate buying at highs at this time. It's 11 o'clock, and I have a rule about breakout trades at this time of day. I don't like them. That's the rule. I don't like breakout trades right around 11 o'clock. I'd rather let other people take the break, let it fail, drip back in, and try to buy the dip. I am eyeballing Mara, however, because it's been good structure on Mara. So if you got something else that's stepping up, it's at resistance now, but it's got an obvious sort of higher low support at 15.40. That's only like 1% away, which is 15 pennies on Mara. So if it dips into this level and goes a little sideways, then I want to join that trend, but it's going to be about that patience. So whether it's that or whether it's Rigetti on a little bit of a dip, those are the two things that I am now looking at. And I saw an observation in the chat that the Chinese stocks are weak. Baba just went red on the day. I'm a little bit surprised by that. I mean, they were strong, everything else strong, but it is what it is. All that Tariff talk is going on, so that's going to weigh heavily on it. If Baba can hold 140, that was actually the level that we had the short yesterday. Late in the afternoon, was kind of this little pullback in here. It went 50 cents and then broke higher. This is the spot that I was looking for a theoretical long because I didn't think we'd get there. Well, we're here now. So it's going to have to break trend, and it's not going to do so without some kind of significant move up. I'm not going to get into it now, but this is the area that if it holds, I'd try to get it back through 41 and into VWAP. But it's going to be a Rigetti story, I think, at this point. Rigetti or Mara.
Look, guys, some decent reds across the board here for us trading, but we're gonna battle back, man. We do have the midday show coming through. They're already hear them talking about Rigetti, which has been a nice play today. I'm getting out some more Intel right here at 2110s. Again, just to like sort of stop some of this bleeding here because I don't need this to retrace back in on right now. So we're getting some more out, and we've done pretty good, man. We're out of half of this already. AMD's fallen back in, and we're starting now to take some out. I wish I had some of that, Ramin. But yeah, don't we all right now? But here it comes back in for AMD. It's trying to go. We're bidding some lower lows here. I'm bidding breaking through $100.50 would be nice. That's right where I'm sitting right here, $100.46, right at the 50 period moving average. See what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to cheer for Intel. I don't want to cheer for AMD to go down because I feel like that would obviously affect this Intel trade. So I'm going to start to get out of some more of this Intel, even though we're just basically flat. We just took out some 05s. We'll reload it if it comes back in, but I'd rather this market tank because, I think I can get some more oomph in this short for AMD. So we'll bid here in and around the 50s and see if that can matter. But yeah, took a little bit of money back there on Intel out of half, but here it comes back in, falling back. We did want to give this a shot down here again into these 90s. So we'll see if 90 can hold. Reloading a little bit here on Intel, but it's AMD that is starting to come in right into the 50 period, right where we said we should be sitting. I'm sitting in the 40s. Let's take a piece out here in the 50s. So far, so good there. Yes, sir. It's AMD right now as we go to the downside. But the most red name here today is Intel, and we'll let that go as it falls back down as well. So AMD downside finally, Intel trying to go as well. Adara at the desk with Money Talks.
The money's certainly speaking to the downside here. This looks a little bit like a head and shoulders in retrospect on this daily chart for the USD, set for our fourth straight day of downside. Next level of support resistance on this daily chart for the dollar would be around 103.4. So currently here trading around 104. Not much left there to drop to that level. We'll have to wait and see what happens there. Today was pretty light when it came to economic data. We did have a couple things of note here. This trade balance, which we know Donald Trump already spoke about in ending this trade deficit. Initial jobless claims higher than expected. Labor costs lower than expected here. And wholesale inventories above expectations. At least that was the revision. And then wholesale sales below estimates. Now we're going to have Fed's Waller coming in later today around 3:30. But two events are going to come earlier that are going to be of more importance. Scott Bessent, Treasury of U.S. Treasury Secretary. Sorry about that, guys. He'll be coming in at 12 p.m. At 2 p.m., Donald Trump will be signing executive orders. Then tomorrow at 12:30 p.m., we're going to be getting Fed Chair Jerome Powell giving a speech on the economic outlook. It's going to be at this monetary policy forum held by the University of Chicago School of Business. So Fed Chair Powell, 12:30 tomorrow. Economic outlook is the subject of the speech, and that's something we're certainly waiting to hear a lot about. Really quickly before I throw you guys back, I don't think it's huge, but just be aware, Axios just published this article saying that TikTok sale talks are at a standstill, so not any progress. Beijing and ByteDance are not super communicative with any potential bidders, so it looks like we're not really sure what's going to happen on April 5th when this deadline hits on the TikTok ban, guys. Back to you.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They keep moving the goalposts on that.
Yeah.
I think we stopped. I shouldn't say we stopped caring about those headlines, but I think a lot of times you're just waiting for something a little bit more concrete. I do believe, regardless of how anything plays out, I think win for Meta, I think win for Alphabet. Because even if they divest, they don't get the algorithm anyways, and you end up with a weaker form in North America, and then that's just better for Google, and that's better for Meta regardless. So I like.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm the one I'm dip buying is Meta, so I guess I'll say I like Meta better, for lack of a better term. But I like them both. I just like Meta better right now. Rigetti for the first time since 10:30, and then again at about 10 o'clock. So every half an hour it seems to try to dip. So I just grabbed it on that trend. Intel. I'm going to show you the 15-minute chart. Sorry. Well, I can zoom out a 3-minute chart. That's good enough. So I made the top. When it broke that top, I wanted to get out. Showed you where we wanted short, where we wanted out. It just, again, broke that trend, which is actually not from the bottom. Let's just draw it again here from the higher low. So there's another trend. What's annoying about this is when it's making the trend break, it's just sort of like someone's piling into it. So like getting it on the way down isn't working after it does that wick top. And that's exactly what happened the last time it broke trend. Like I didn't get the initial push down. I'm ending up getting the fills on the back end instead of on the front end of that flush, which is frustrating because it means it gets immediately going down like 10, 12 cents, and you're not getting that first profit take or two. But still going to put the bids out there at sort of the obvious support levels there. So we're into Rigetti finally. Mara, we're not in Mara yet. That's certainly one worth watching. It's holding that 15.4, but some lower highs off of this as Bitcoin's actually back underneath 91. So just a bit of a small alert there. I mean, I like the trend on Mara has been to the upside, but you're starting to see IBIT lose the trend a little bit. So yeah, I don't think I'd want that Mara long unless I see Bitcoin starting to go back up a little bit.
Because I just heard Sharif talk to Adara. Adara's the #1 P&L here today. So congratulations to you, Miss Adara, as we celebrate successes here, that is for sure. Congratulations to Adara. It's not hard to be #1 when we're red, but congratulations there to Adara for being that. And great trades, right? She trades the spread of your names. I think she said Zscaler. I'm not sure. AppLovin and Zscaler. So two names that we ignored.
Zscaler.
But good for you there, Adara. All right, so nice moves down for $200 now and 40 cents. So, hey, man. Okay, we've got AMD at least, as this one has really, we wrote down 101 for this. We wrote down 21 for Intel. We're finally in the prices that we thought we wanted, so let's wait for that. I was very, very... All right, the TQ, same thing, doesn't matter. We had written down short 70s. Doesn't matter, it went up to 40s. I'm not, honestly... To hold something, we held at 30 handles or so against us. We were short there at 70. We were short there again at 70 15s. So I think on average, we probably lose about 20 handles on that play. We're flat on the TQQs after everything, but this move down is nice, and we don't have it, but we did call it. Doesn't matter, you can call anything you want unless you trade it, doesn't matter. But that's a nice move right there to the downside. This is that area that we had got out in the past. So if you are still net short on the TQs, congratulations, I got stopped out. We can look again as like,
VWAP.
Yeah, why we punched out and this and that. And that's why we talk about e-signal and back testing and all that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, there's really no reason for that to have stopped there. Obviously 70-50, an even level could have been it, but not on a triple ETF. No one cares. I mean, individual cents, no one's looking at that. I wouldn't think on that. So if anything, I would say 71. You know, if we ran all the way up there and came back in, I think that would be a mistrade, but I'm not hating myself for getting stopped out of that one because we had broken above all my levels. So for now, that is fine. All right, man. I mean, we're making the money back right here. So let's go. Bring it on down to Amityville as we get hit right now at $20.82. Sounds like that was a good idea to get back into the short of Intel and make a little bit of bread here on that. So I'll put another bid. We didn't get out of as many shares as I'd hoped there. We'll see if we can get one more fill at 82. We're bidding it now. Just one little move back in and there. Did we get filled there? Not yet. Now we did. Now we did. All right, so there's the fill there on 82s. Oh yeah, it's just covering up because it's the same candle. So all right, so we get the fill there. Now we'll wait for a little bit lower on that one. And then here we go, Neil. Finally, man, hopefully this will be a green name. And let's just start to cover a little bit right now. As AMD back in the money now, 50 cents. Didn't even realize that we were all the way down here because we were looking at Intel. So let's put a bid now. We just missed it. Let's punch a little bit higher. All right, we get 26s. Let's see if AMD wants to fall back into VWAP, which is $100. So if that falls, great. Now we're starting to bid back up a little bit.
Yeah, so we're bouncing off. I'm watching Nvidia and the NASDAQ, and they're obviously leading a bit of everything here. I'm going to get to your super chat, Mr. Black, but like same thing Sean just said about the Qs. I'll say the same thing about Nvidia. I'm not in it. I saw a couple of people are still in their short. I also got the fills off of 81, 82 just now there on Intel, so I'm at a third of the position. But Tyler Black, I don't know why I said Ty Black. Oh, there's a baseball player. T Black.
T Black.
I think it was a guy on the Brewers. And
T Boone Pickens.
I'm in draft mode for baseball. So T Black, thank you for the super chat. Any thoughts on Airbnb? Thanks, guys. Trade safe. We're actually not using Airbnb for the first time since we've been going down to spring training this year. It's weird. Every year we use an Airbnb, and we're not doing it this year. But with that bounce, the reason I got some more out on Intel was A, it was catching a bid at 80, but B, Nvidia and the market were bouncing right there. So I actually love Airbnb. I love the business. I've never owned the stock. And I think this is the kind of name where I don't know that it's bouncing off the 50 period yet, but I care more about where the buyers have been than the line on the chart. I know we talk about the 50 and the 200 period a lot, and I like them as well, usually on the stocks that I'm in love with. But I think when you see where there's a bunch of buying coming in there and it's like 10% lower than where it is now, well, you can long that to the stop there, but I always think in the longer run, I kind of like those levels a little bit better on a stock like Airbnb. So that's the first thing that I consider. The other thing that you want to be able to consider there is, you know, obviously it's in a big hefty downtrend and maybe let it reverse that trend before getting into it. But in a general sense, like I really, really love that business in general. Like we're not really hotel people anymore ourselves. Although we were in a hotel from Montreal because we were there for like 2 days. But we use specifically like Airbnb almost everywhere we go. So shout out to them. I just don't love the level it's at now so much as that support 10% lower. So Rigetti's, oddly enough, not doing much. It held the trend line and is bouncing off the trend line, but I haven't been filled at the prior high at 890 just yet. And we already talked about Intel. It was Mara that I kind of backed away from because Bitcoin lost 91 and Mara bounced anyways. So maybe Mara doesn't care about Bitcoin today. He just wants to go higher. I guess that's possible.
Yeah, that could be definitely possible. I mean, here goes crypto again, 91,000 and still going. Shout out to Jag there for the T Boone Pickens. Okay, so let's just quickly look to see who's making money yesterday and what these numbers do look like. So, you know, we had a couple big days the last couple days. Yesterday wasn't too huge as we looked at some of the P&Ls, but there it is. So yesterday we had in New York, and it's past 11 o'clock. All right, New York and NASDAQ, 15,000, 16,000, 10,000 right there on Canada, Amsterdam. So a little bit of a look there for Europe yesterday. Look at this. Yeah, Saudi Arabia market is in the building. The first time we've seen that there as well. Madrid, LSE coming through again. It looks like we had some nice trading happening right here over in Europe yesterday. So, hey, man, the markets just aren't here. You know, that's why we're with Real Trading. Over 60 plus markets available to trade at Real Trading. All right, I got to hit the gym. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. Disastrous day here, but I'm thinking we'll get a lot better.
Yeah, Saudi Arabia.
Nice to see Saudi Arabia on there.
I didn't even know we had that market.
Yeah, man.
Shout out Real Trading, everybody.
Yeah, we have that market for sure. We got it about a couple months ago. Yeah. We did get that market. Okay, it's Joe. It's Sharif, the unnamed soldier there, because we don't, you know, Joe's not on the board there, but he will be
I know why.
gracing your presence immediately. Okay, thank you, and we'll see you at 2 o'clock.
You can't see him.
Ciao.
What is up, beautiful people? Welcome to How to Trade During the Midday. That is your boy, Joey Dang Options.
Also known as John Cena.
Dun, 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 dun.
You can't see me.